Good evening to you. Chase here from the Severe Weather Center here. We got a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag for portions of Lincoln, actually all of Lincoln, Moore, and Franklin counties. This warning goes into effect through the next hour, so let me get you the information on that real quick in case you missed it. This goes into effect here until 8:30 p.m. Central Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's for this line of thunderstorms you see here that has crossed I-65 in Giles County, Tennessee, that's now crossing into Lincoln County, and eventually it's going to be impacting Moore and Franklin counties within the next 30 minutes to an hour. So if you are in the yellow highlighted spots here across Franklin, Lincoln, and Moore counties, you need to be away from windows. And to be honest, just to be on the safe side here, considering this warning does have a tornado possible tag on it, despite no formal tornado warning, it may be best to go ahead and find that safe place that's on the lowest floor near the center, away from windows. If you got a basement, let's ride it out there at least until the warning expires. And if you don't have a basement, into your room, closet, bathroom, whatever, that will work. Just to be on the safe side here, because remember, these thunderstorms, especially in a linear situation like this, what can happen sometimes is on the leading edge. Sometimes you can get a brief spin up that can occur very suddenly out of it. So let's play it on the safe side here for those of you in Fayetteville, Lynchburg, Timms Ford, and Winchester here over the next hour. And let's just find our safe spot here. And also, real quick, if you guys don't mind watching, share this video out too so we can get as many eyeballs as we can on here. Let me know where you're watching from and what you're seeing. I know the winds are ramping up pretty much across the whole region ahead of this line. Those are the gradient winds out ahead of the storm. So if you want to let me know what's going on where you are when it comes to what you're seeing too, safely of course, feel free to let me know, as I share this out also across my social media feeds too, so that way we can get as many people on here to watch as we can. So, and now we're done. So there you have it. Got all that shared out. So let's actually investigate here and look into velocities and see if we're seeing anything really suspect as far as rotation is concerned. Thankfully, no. What I'm seeing here with this bright blue and green that you see on this map, what this is an indication of here, this is an indication of very strong winds. And again, considering this is inside a severe thunderstorm warning, the gusts could easily be upwards of 50 to 60 miles an hour. That will knock down trees. That can knock out power. So that's what I'm saying. Even if you're not in a tornado warning or anything like that, you just definitely want to stay inside and stay away from windows here. And now I am watching this up here towards Petersburg here, where you see this red and green attempting to meet up. It's very broad, but there is a reason why this severe thunderstorm warning has a tornado possible tag on it is because of something like this. Because sometimes what can happen, as I said earlier, you can get a brief little spin up. So if one were to occur, my best guess and prediction would be right here, just south of Petersburg, and that would head towards the Lynchburg area if it were to tighten up. But thankfully at this point, though, at least at the moment, I'm not seeing anything that suggests that will be the case. Now let me look in here and show you the rotational shear on here, and my computer's being a little buggy today, so bear with me here. Here's the rotational track, and it does show a little bit right here where you see this yellow here. There is a little bit of a hot spot right there that does indicate some turbulence, but that looks more like straight line wind there as it passes just south of the Petersburg area and is getting ready to cross Highway 231, 431 there in the northern end of Lincoln County, and that's going to head right towards downtown Lynchburg, and eventually for you folks out towards Tullahoma, Estill Springs, Deckard, and Winchester, these thunderstorms are heading in your direction. So get ready for them. They'll be in your neighborhood in the next 30 minutes to 1 hour. Again, the warning runs till 8:30 Central Time. So what I'm going to do here is put out a storm track on this line of thunderstorms. Let me make sure the speed is right. It says here the movement is east at 35, so I will adjust that as it goes. So that's moving east at 40. So what I'll do here is take that off briefly so I can put the track on there. And here we go. So we'll track this southern end. And we'll take it out to about Pelham and Sherwood, and we'll put the cities on the map. So Fayetteville, this will be in your area here within the next 10 minutes. So around 7:50, 7:51 for you. Winchester area, so Timms Ford, Winchester area around 8:30. Same with Estill Springs, also around 8:30. Swanee, this will be in your area around 8:45, 8:50-ish. Same with Sherwood, and then also around 8:50. in the Pelham area. That's for this southern extension. Now you may get it sooner from this northern end. So what I'll do is I'll also put a track on this northern end. Again, same speed. I got it out at 40 just to give some advance notice, and I'll go ahead and also extend this out towards Grundy County and also the northern end of Marion County, because that's where it's going to be heading next. Again, this northern end of the line, those of you in Lynchburg, this will be in your area around 7:58, this northern end. Around 8:13 in Tullahoma, around 8:19 in Estill Springs, 8:34 in Hillsboro, 8:37 in Swanee, 8:40 in Pelham, around 8:45 in Mont Eagle, around 8:55 in Altamont and Colmont, around 9 o'clock in Beersheba, Grutley around 9:03, and Whitwell and Griffith Creek there around 9:10. So that's kind of some estimated times of arrivals there on this southern end. Again, this is the only, and I want to stress this right now, this is the only warning. The only area that's seeing severe weather at the moment is inside this orange box. That includes pretty much all of Franklin County, all of Moore County, Lincoln County. Those are the only counties right now that have imminent severe weather danger at this time. Nobody else does. As this line moves east, we should see a weakening trend. I will say that. As this line moves closer to Chattanooga, we should start seeing some weakening. I can't promise that, but as this line moves east, it should move into more stable air, and we should start seeing weakening here with time. But don't let your guard down here just yet, because again, sometimes what can happen is sometimes surprises can happen. So that's why I'm on here, and we're going to keep you advised here. Now, this pink that you're seeing right in here, to the south of Shelbyville here and west of Fayetteville, what you're seeing in there, that pink, that's an indication of some hail. Not large hail. We're not talking golf ball size or anything. What we're talking about is mostly small hail. So probably in the order of penny, maybe up to quarter in a few spots, but mostly small hail. So you may get some small hail out of this as that crosses through Lincoln and into Moore County here pretty soon, and eventually into Coffee County and Franklin as well. You don't have a warning up there in Coffee, but you got a pretty intense line of thunderstorms moving through. And the biggest takeaway from this, even if you don't get a warning, is this line is pretty healthy. So it's going to carry some pretty strong winds, again, mainly on the neighborhood of 30, 40, maybe up to 50 miles an hour in some places. And even well out ahead of all this rain activity, I've been getting some reports here just before coming on here. The winds are starting to ramp up in parts of the Squatchy Valley and some other places too, just out ahead of this. And those are the gradient winds. Not necessarily the thunderstorm winds; those are the gradient winds. But it's going to get quite rocky here when this line moves through, even if it were to be below severe levels by that time. So again, out ahead of this, you're going to get the rain's going to pick up out ahead of this. So if you're in Winchester, it's about to start raining soon. But the heaviest, again, is about a good 30 to 45 minutes away on average. So it probably won't be for another 30 minutes to an hour before things get really rocking and rolling up in here across Franklin County. But I do want to check and see if we got a new scan here. Again, there's still a little bit of weak rotation, some weak to broad rotation in here aloft. That's showing up there just north of Belleville. As you see, it's pretty broad. Nothing crazy, but that is a pretty good punch of wind right there that's going to head into Lynchburg, Moore County. So there's State Route 50 right there, State Route 50, State Route 55 there, and it goes right up there where the community college is out there on the west side of Tullahoma and into town. So that's going to move right up into Tullahoma where this area of strong winds is going. But again, there may be something trying to form up in here, at least weak rotation-wise up here. But again, nothing crazy. It's just something we got to watch over the next few minutes, because it does, in fact, verify what you see and how this thunderstorm is bending. So when you get a bow, I wouldn't call it a bow echo necessarily, but when you get a bow like this, you're going to get some pretty strong winds here along this leading edge. And sometimes what can happen in the middle is sometimes you can get a small spin up that can occur very quickly in the middle of that, as this part of the storm kind of bows out and gives you that somewhat almost hook-like shape, but more of a backward C. So that bow is moving like this, and that's going to take it up here towards the northern shores of Thames Ford Lake. So if you know anybody out there, hopefully nobody's out there, at least outside and near the water, but if you know anybody out there, just give them a heads up. Make sure they know that they got a very intense line of thunderstorms moving in that could produce some damaging winds. Gusts could be on the order again of 50 to 60 miles an hour, and you may even see a little bit of small hail too with this activity. Now, I do want to give a quick heads up also down here to Jackson County and DeKalb County here, because this line that you see here moving into the Huntsville area, that's going to eventually move over towards Jackson County and Sand Mountain here also within the next hour to hour and a half. So, I want to get you your heads up over here real quick if you're watching from Jackson or DeKalb in Alabama, because this is also heading your way. This has also been warned as a severe thunderstorm warning for Limestone and Morgan counties. And let me see if we got any. Yeah, that puts some pretty strong wind right in here, right over Decatur and up towards Athens. So it's definitely some intense winds here that could again be on the order of 50 to 60 miles an hour. Now, most places probably won't see a severe gust, but there will be isolated pockets within the line on the leading edge that could see a stronger gust. So that's something to keep in mind of here. So when you get these brighter colors here, all that's showing is a very strong punch of wind coming from west to east. And remember, this is the cold front. This right here is the cold front right here that's moving through. So earlier, this was actually ahead of the line. There was another line segment that was moving through West Tennessee and Middle Tennessee, and that has merged into this. So this is one line. So once this passes through, any threat of strong storms will end once this passes through your area. You'll just have some rain and some breezy, gusty wind on the backside, and that'll be it. So once this line passes through your area, you're good. We just got to get this one line segment through, and then we'll be good. Also checking up on those of you, because I know I have a lot of viewers from the McMinnville area and also Coffee County too. Going to check on you guys here real quick. I know you don't have any warnings officially, but this part of the line up here is also producing heavy rain and gusty winds in Bedford and Rutherford counties. That's going to move towards the McMinnville area. So if you're over here towards Manchester and McMinnville, and eventually towards Spencer here in Van Buren County, you're going to be getting this strong thunderstorm activity within the next hour. So all of what I'm saying here to communities out ahead of this is all within the next hour or so. So this line is going to move through. It's going to steadily move through from west to east. Average speed around 40 miles an hour. It was 50, so it did slow down a little bit. But as this moves through, you're going to experience some heavy rain, very heavy rain, and also the potential for those strong wind gusts. And within isolated pockets here, you might get a little bit of small hail, but we're not talking about large hail. I mean, we're talking small hail. And speaking of which, right over the north side of Ardmore there, one hail core about to move into Fayetteville there also. This is where I'm seeing the biggest indication for some hail right now. Again, small hail, but this is where I'm seeing the stronger indication for that small hail. And you see that rolls pretty much right up the 231 corridor and into the Shelbyville area there, just outside of our area there in Bedford County. So that's going to, as I said, it's moving east here, roughly about 35 to 40 miles an hour. And again, we got a new warning that just got issued here. So this does include part of Jackson County. So for those of you in the western end of Jackson County, you are now under a new severe thunderstorm warning, and let me get you the information on this. Now, it does not include Scottsboro or Stevenson and Bridgeport. It's not quite the U, but for those of you out west of High Top and Skyline towards the Woodville and Paint Rock area, that's where the warning is. So let me pull that up here off camera here just to make sure I can get that latest to you. It says a severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for northwestern Jackson County, Madison County, and eastern Limestone County in Alabama until 8:30. So this is pretty much the same time as the southern Tennessee warning. At 7:47, severe thunderstorms located along the line extending from near Ardmore to near Madison to near Tanner, moving east at 40 miles an hour. Locations that are in the path of this include Huntsville, Decatur, Madison, Athens, Alabama that is, Moores Mill, Redstone Arsenal, Ardmore, Hazel Green, Owens Crossroads. Those are the areas that are in the path of that. And also in Jackson County, not mentioned, but Woodville and Paint Rock are also in the path in Jackson County from that. So, and again, this will eventually reach those of you in Stevenson and Bridgeport and Sand Mountain. This will get to you eventually, but right now you're not in the warning. It's just for the far, and I mean the far western end of Jackson County. That's the only part of the county under that severe thunderstorm warning at this time. So that as of this minute, I'll let you know if that changes. I do want to also note that the lightning here is kind of picked up a little bit here on the Tennessee side, up here towards the Shelbyville area and into far western Lynchburg and Moore County. Again, that is a sign that there could be a little bit of strengthening here on this northern end. But as you see right now, as I look back here on velocity, what I'm seeing here is just a linear, at the moment, is a linear area of straight line wind. Again, that could be on the order, on average, could be some 50 to 60 mile an hour gusts on this leading edge in the severe area, 40 to 50 on the non-severe side. So that's just something we got to monitor here, and I can actually query some of these amounts here for you and show you what that's one's showing 48 on the red side there, and then on the green and lighter green side there in blue, it's showing about 49. Now you gotta remember, we're looking up pretty high loft here on radar, even though we're pretty close to the radar site, which is in Jackson County in High Top. Remember, these winds are about 2,000 feet or so off the ground. So you have to take into consideration that. So you kind of have to subtract those totals a little bit by about 10 miles an hour or so. So really, in reality, that's about around about 40. So right in those areas there, that's still some pretty strong wind there. So if you're in Lynchburg, make sure you're away from windows. Just do whatever you can to make sure that you're away from windows. Same thing. I know Tullahoma, you technically don't have a warning, but the Franklin County side of town's under a warning. So let's just play it safe there, and let's just get away from windows there. Same thing applies for those of you in Estill Springs and Winchester, Huntland, Deckard, Cowan, Suwannee, Belvedere, Thames Ford Lake area, out towards areas like Beach Hill, Broadview, all that part of the county. Alto, make sure that you are getting away from windows and all, especially from your western facing windows, really from windows period, but especially considering the storms are coming from the west. Get away from those western-facing windows as that moves through. Again, so far, as of the last few minutes, I've not seen any kind of rotation here so far, so we are doing good. But again, I have to monitor that just so we can catch any potential little surprises that could happen. But what I'm seeing here, as I said, is very strong wind indications here. So again, we got 2 warnings that we're working right now. The second one has not entered Jackson yet. It's still a county over in Madison, but it's going to move over there pretty soon. So we got that warning for western Jackson County until 8:30. And we got this warning that covers all of Lincoln County, all of Moore County, and 70% of Franklin County. So we'll just say all of Franklin County pretty much until 8:30. So both these warnings expire 8:30. Hopefully we get to the point, fingers crossed, that maybe we get lucky and these warnings can be expired a little sooner. We can get these warnings canceled early, but we're not at that point at the moment. Now, you're maybe wondering out here in Coffee and Franklin here that the rain is starting to pick up here. That is just out ahead of this line. So what all this rain you're seeing here out ahead of this main line, this is not the main event here. The main event's back here, where you see all this purple and such. And again, that purple, of course, is an indication of some small hail within these thunderstorms. And I can actually check and see what it looks like there. Again, what I'm showing you is a different product that shows that potential for hail. And again, nothing really crazy with what I'm seeing here, the vertically integrated liquid there. But as I said, there are some spots in here that do indicate, some brighter spots here that do indicate the potential for some hail in that. And that actually goes all the way up to just south of Murfreesboro too, as that moves east towards Woodbury, and then eventually towards the McMinnville area. And then, and again, non-severe at the moment up in here, but you got some very strong winds and thunderstorms moving into those areas. Again, let's see if we got a new velocity check here, see if we got anything new there. Again, as I said, I mean, the winds have actually gotten a little brighter here on this last scan, so we're definitely got a pretty good strong punch of wind here. Again, moving across Moore and Lincoln right now. You see right here where you got the red, bright red here, bright green here. Now, typically this would be an indication of rotation if it was tighter and more localized, but again, as I said, I'm not seeing that at the moment as that pushes to the east. So what I'm going to do here real quick while I'm at it, I'm going to put on another quick storm track on this and see if we got any updates on the speed. And that's moving east at 35. So what I'll do here is I'll do a track first south in Jackson County, and then we'll go back up north into southern Tennessee here shortly. So we'll go right here, and we'll try to get as many communities on here in Jackson as we can on this new track. Hold on, that just updated, so let me get you a fresh one there. So, and I'll actually track that out to about Dade County too, just to give y'all a heads up. Again, Huntsville, it's pretty much going to be knocking on your doorstep here in the next 15 minutes. Skyline and High Top in Jackson County, roughly around 8:50. Scottsboro, near or just before 9 o'clock, says 8:57 for you. Stevenson around 9:12, same with Pisgah. Henniger there on Sand Mountain around 9:20. Bridgeport around 9:24. Ider around 9:26, and in the Trenton area by 10:40 Eastern Time. So if you notice here, most of this is in Central Time. But with the new update I have, it does show Eastern Time zone time. So for example, that time in Trenton is 1 hour ahead at 10:40 Eastern, so that would be 9:40 Central Time. So that just shows you right there the change in time zone right there. So those are your times of arrival on that. I'm leaving that up for just a second so y'all can see that. And then up here to the north, again, we'll go up pretty much from north to south, and I will get up here to the upper Cumberland here, but right now I'm focused here on these severe thunderstorms. And again, we'll track this out. Right now I'll keep it conservative here and keep it kind of out of Marion here for a moment at least, but keep part of Grundy in there for now since it's not quite there yet. Again, Lynchburg here, here's a new update. Downtown Lynchburg, it's pretty much on top of you right now. If not, it'll be there within the next minute. Around Estill Springs, around 8:18. Swanee, around 8:36. Pelham, around 8:39. And Mott Eagle and Colmont, so Mott Eagle around 8:43. And the Colmont area, they're around 8:55. So this would be moving on this current trajectory. These severe thunderstorms, if they were to hold together, and that's a big if, they would move into the Squatchy Valley roughly between 8:30 and 10 o'clock. That'd be the estimated time of arrival for the Squatchy Valley counties here. So that'd be Bledsoe, Squatchy, Marion. And then for those of you up here in the UC, not going to forget about you guys, even though right now you don't technically have a warning, but let's go ahead and track it out here for you guys, and I'll even get Pikeville and Crossville on this list here. Again, these are estimated. So Centertown, this will be in your area in Warren County around 8:15. Just right around or just before 8:30 in McMinnville. 8:52 in Doyle. 8:54 for Spencer. Pikeville around 9:18. Lake Tansy around 9:30. And Crossville there around 9:34. So figured I'd give some times of arrival updates on this. So I went pretty much from north to south. So we did Jackson, even Dade, and also went up here all the way up into the upper Cumberland here. So again, here's the current situation here. Let's make sure that we're not missing anything as far as velocities are concerned. As I said, thankfully we still haven't. Again, this Coffee County side's kind of ramped up a little bit, so the winds may actually be increasing a little up here. So you don't have a warning up here technically, but if you're in Manchester and points east from there, it's probably already windy now, but it's going to get windier here very soon. I'm talking within the next 10-ish minutes or so. So get ready for that, and you may have a little bit of small pea to marble size hail with that as well, but again, nothing too wild there. The hail has actually decreased significantly down here south of Fayetteville, so that's good news. So down there, that's actually decreased quite a bit, but we're still keeping this intense core up in here, moving across Normandy Lake right now, and that's moving east into Coffee County. And as I said here, this where you see the bright red and the bright green and everything, this is the velocity, and this is pretty much what Doppler radar is all about here. It's showing the wind motion. Red here would go away from the radar site. Green would be moving toward, and the best way to demonstrate this is just by looking at itself. Notice how the greens here are rushing toward the radar, and the reds are being pushed away. So that tells you right there that's a very strong west to east wind there that's moving right across southern Middle Tennessee right now. So that's pretty much the situation there. And as I said, for those of you in the Squatchy Valley, Sand Mountain, Chattanooga metro area, this is all going to be in your neighborhood within the next 1 to 3 hours roughly. Again, that's estimated. So within the next hour to two or so, this is going to be moving into the Chattanooga area. So just heads up there on that. Hopefully by that point it'll be weaker, and I'm hoping it will be weaker by that time. But out of precaution, just make sure that you do kind of have some kind of safe place, on standby in case you need to get away from the windows for a little bit. Just have that backup plan in case. So again, very strong wind. Just got a little update there. Again, this is the good thing is this is actually updating about every 3 to 5 minutes, so we're getting in some fresh data here. Strongest winds are now exclusively in Moore County on this end, and now moving east of Fayetteville, so we can actually give an all clear to somebody as far as a severe thunderstorm threat's concerned. So Fayetteville, you're on the backside, you're good. Petersburg, you're good. This is east of you now. So those are our first all clears of the night. In Woodbury, you're almost there. You got about 5-10 more minutes in Woodbury. You'll be good to go after that too. And same with Manchester. Give it about 20 minutes or so. Let this get through, and you will be good. And if you happen to be watching from Shelbyville, you also are good to go too. Your threat's over there as far as severe weather is concerned. Now you have some rain and some wind on the backside, but you don't have anything severe. Again, let's check on this southern end here. For those of you in Jackson County, see what the winds are looking like down here real quick, because this kind of gives you a little bit of an expectation, so to speak. Yeah, there are some 60s showing up in here, right there in the western suburbs and of Huntsville here. So that's definitely going to be some strong wind there, moving right down 72 and points east from there. So those of you in Pleasant Groves and Woodville and eventually High Top and Skyline there on the mountain there, just make sure you are, getting away from windows there, because if this does hold together, the warning may be extended to you. And this is another very strong area of wind right here. It's showing some 50 to 60. Moving across at Quarter Crossroads and areas of Kelso there in southeastern Lincoln County. And then up into Lynchburg and Moore County. It's moved out of downtown, so the worst of it, even though you're still getting the really heavy stuff there in downtown Lynchburg, but the heaviest, the really roughest stuff is now beginning to move east of the downtown area, and it's moving towards right towards Timms Ford Lake and all the other communities that are surrounding the lake. So if you know somebody in one of these little places here like Beach Hill or Deckard or Capitol Hill or even up there towards Woods Reservoir up here, just make sure that they are aware and away from windows and such, because this is definitely a pretty strong line of storms. And we just got a new update on this warning. So let me get that update here to you, because we just got a new update on that warning. And I can actually unplug this phone now since it's fully charged. So this is the new warning update, still with a tornado possible tag on it, which is why I'm staying on here, because we still got this tornado possible tag on it. Severe thunderstorm at 8:02. Severe thunderstorm was located along the line extending from near Tullahoma to 8 miles south of Lynchburg to near Hazel Green, moving east at 50 miles an hour. So that this part actually sped up a little bit. Hazard is 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and the source is radar indicated. Expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees, it says on the hazards. Locations that are in the path of this include Winchester, Fayetteville. Fayetteville, you're clear. So I'll correct that. Winchester, Lynchburg, Deckard, Estill Springs, Cowan, Huntland, Timms Ford Lake, Swanee, and Lincoln are in the path of this storm. And also Belvedere, you're not in there, but you're also involved in this. Row Gap Road, Keith Springs Mountain, Woods Reservoir, the Alto community, all of you are also in the path of that storm too. Again, the tornado watch remains in effect until 9 p.m. Central for North Alabama. So again, considering, and the reason why the Weather Service is keeping these severe thunderstorm warnings tagged as tornado possible, it's because sometimes, as I explained earlier here in the live, what can happen here is on the leading edge of this line, you can get quick spin-ups that can occur. And sometimes they can occur with little to no warning. So if we catch anything, we're going to catch it here. So that way you can get some advance notice here. Be like, hey, but so far I haven't seen that. I've seen a couple of close calls, don't get me wrong, on this leading edge. But they haven't gotten to my attention yet. So that's the good thing. So if they're not catching my attention, then that's a good thing. So as long as we keep it this way, then we'll just stick with the 50 to 60 mile an hour straight line winds that, again, could knock out power, could cause trees to fall, the typical severe thunderstorm gusts that we see this time of the year. And again, I'll tell you this, and I've said this over and over again here, but for those of you in Grundy County and Marion County and also the rest of Jackson County not in a severe thunderstorm warning, you guys are next up on this. So you guys are next up on the list to see these strong thunderstorms. And hopefully by that time, maybe they'll be weaker. That's what we're hoping for. But if they're not, then you'll also have the risk of strong damaging winds, and you'll probably get a severe thunderstorm warning. So just giving you the heads up there just to make sure you're aware of that. And we're still seeing some pretty good lightning here along this leading edge. And the good thing is that it's decreased a little bit up here on the Tennessee side, but it did increase a little bit, I see, down here towards the Huntsville area. So it's kind of a bit of a mixed bag here, I guess you can say, as far as the lightning's concerned. So again, this is still a and you can kind of see the full structure here. I'll zoom it out so you can see the full thing. Even this northern end that's not severe, it is still a very healthy line. I mean, even with the fact that we have very little to almost no instability, the fact these storms are holding together the way they are is very impressive. And part of the reason why they're holding together as long as they are is because we have very strong wind shear aloft. And this is actually very typical of what we see this time of year. We get these strong cold fronts. They bring in a lot of wind energy, typically very low cape. But these are high shear storms. They will tend to, and that's why we're seeing the wind gusts that we're seeing even out ahead of this line. The gradient winds ahead of it. Because when you got a strong cold front like this and you got a dynamic low pressure system, you can get these kind of winds sometimes. So that's just giving you a little bit of a heads up there that even out ahead of this, you're going to get some 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts out ahead of this. So, and the thing is, when you have thunderstorms involved, those thunderstorms can, especially when they get very strong, they can really bring down some strong gusts and even some stronger gusts than what you're seeing out ahead of it. So that's just something to keep in mind here as this line continues to progress from west to east across the whole region. So all valley and mountain areas will see heavy rain. You will see some strong wind gusts. Can't say whether everybody will see a warning, because I don't think everybody will see a warning, but some of you will. So again, if you hear me calling out your town or county or whatever, just make sure that's your notice to make sure that you're taking it seriously here and going forward, at least getting away from windows. As I said, you don't have to be underground. You don't have to be like anything too crazy. I mean, if you want to take tornado precautions, that's fine. I mean, that's good to be safe than sorry, and I do recommend that. But the good thing is, so far, I haven't seen anything really dramatic along this leading edge, even though I will say it's tried. But again, here's the update here on the velocities here, and the strongest wind, so the edge, pretty much, we'll just call it the edge of the cold front too, is pretty much moving right over Timms Ford Lake right now. And you can see the new scan that just came in. It's right over the heart of the lake, and it's approaching the 41A corridor right here in 64 as well. So those of you in Estill Springs, Deckard, and Winchester, same with Belvedere and Huntland, it's pretty much about to be on top of you here within the next 10 minutes. So make sure you're ready for that over here. And then Cowan's, and so to my friends over in Cowan and Swanee, this will be on your doorstep after that. So again, 10 to 20 minutes there, this will be on top of you. And then up here to Coffee County, just not to forget about you guys. Again, Pocahontas down through New Union. And then towards Summitville, Hillsboro, Manchester, Tullahoma. This is all moving into your area too. Some very heavy rain, gusty winds. Again, Morrison and Viola, y'all are next in line. Again, McMinnville, get ready. This line's moving into your area. You don't have a formal warning, but you definitely got some strong storms moving in. And after that, it'll be the turn for Spencer and Fall Creek Falls to get this, as well as Grundy County. And again, I'll check on the southern end here too. See if we got an update down there for those of you watching maybe in Jackson County. Again, these winds are very strong down here. I mean, some of this is probably a little too high aloft here, like this right here. That 94 is definitely not accurate. But definitely some 60 mile an hour wind gusts at least here. That's going to move right over the mountain and into Jackson County. And what we'll have to watch also as that moves towards Sand Mountain, as we all have heard the term, probably some of you may have heard the term Sand Mountain Magic. Sometimes what can happen here is this line comes at the mountain. It can try to rotate a little bit, and sometimes you can get a brief spin up out of that. So we'll have to watch this southern end of the line, especially the most carefully, as it climbs up towards Sand Mountain and these other higher elevations of Jackson County, because sometimes what can happen is you can get a brief spin up off that interaction with the elevation and the different wind chain directions and such. So this southern end will have to be watched more closely, because as that wind goes right across that terrain, that could cause some trouble there in terms of tornadic activity. Not saying it will happen, but there's always that chance. So definitely not going to ignore this southern end, and definitely not going to ignore this Tennessee side either, even though right now I'm seeing it mostly staying linear, and so far it's staying that way. So again, the strongest winds are crossing over the lake. So this is almost out of Lincoln and Moore completely. At least the strongest winds are. So yeah, actually it's about out of Moore County completely. So let's go ahead and give an all clear here for those of you in Lynchburg. So if you're in Lynchburg, you're good. This is moving to your east now, so you're good there. Fayetteville, you're done. Flintville, about 10 more minutes and you'll be done. And same with Aurora, and eventually Huntland as well. So Huntland, give it about 15-20 minutes and you'll be out of the woods there. And in Tullahoma, you're in the heaviest part of it right now, along with Manchester. But again, give it about 10-15 minutes and you'll be out of the woods too. So again, as I said earlier, once this line passes through your location, you'll have some rain and some gusts and bursts of wind behind it, but you won't have anything severe behind this. So this is the only line that we have to be concerned about. And I'll check here real quick and see if we got anything on the rotational track. And I think this is overdone. I know this is showing some extreme values here, but this is definitely overdone. I think it's kind of getting the velocities here a little mixed up here, but this is showing some pretty strong shear aloft here, moving right up 55 here into Manchester and points east from there. So Somerville, that's about on top of you, and same with Hillsborough. So this red line you see here with the yellow, that's some pretty strong shear being indicated here. So that's going to bring down some strong winds to the surface here. And in the severe zone, you'll probably get 50 to 60. And in the non-severe zone in Coffee County, in Warren County, you'll probably get 40 to 50. And again, as I said, this is probably a little overdone out here towards Morrison. I doubt you're seeing a white zone up there. I don't think that's happening. But you're definitely getting some strong wind there. And sometimes what can also happen is the beam from this radar here, that can sometimes cause some contamination up in here. So what may look like a rotational area is probably not. And sometimes they can overestimate the wind a little too. So that's some other points to consider. Now I am watching one zone right here near Morrison that is trying to, as I said, weakly rotate aloft. But so far it's not really anything too impressive. So yeah, it's moving right up into Warren County right now. Again, no formal warning at the moment, but I am watching this leading edge up here to the north here, just in case it were to try to do anything sneaky here. So again, McMinnville, you got some strong winds moving in, and then also down here to the south, again, very strong winds crossing over the lake, and it's almost to 41A, and it's almost to 64 there in Franklin County, Tennessee. So it's almost on top of you there in Winchester. As I said, you got about 5 to 10 minutes in the greater Winchester-Deckard area before this gets to you. West side of town, sooner. But downtown and east, you don't have much time to, kind of hunker down there and wait for this to pass. Again, Huntland, you're probably going to also get a little bit of small hail out of this storm. That's in Lincoln. That's going to move up into Huntland area and also Keith Springs Mountains. So you're probably going to get some small hail out there. And in this up in here, there could be some pea to marble size hail up in here across Coffee County and also west of Estill Springs there over the lake. But again, nothing crazy there, though, thankfully, when it comes to hail. And again, so far, I haven't seen anything, again, really striking out as far as the rotational size is concerned. And just to update also, as this continues to get closer to Jackson County, again, winds continue to remain strong down here, as indicated by Doppler radar. So right over the Huntsville area is showing 50 to 60 mile an hour winds. And as I said, those of you in Scottsboro, this is your heads up. This is heading your way. And those of you also along 72, this is also heading in your direction as well. And eventually that's also going to make it towards Stevenson and Bridgeport and Sand Mountain, and then eventually towards Fort Payne as well. And I haven't had a chance to talk about Fort Payne much because you haven't had anything down there, but this line is also heading your way, even though there is actually a chance you might actually get split by this southern end. So Fort Payne, you might luck out on this because this might actually stay just to your north by a little bit. Can't guarantee that, but it might. And again, just checking to see if we got anything new here. I haven't heard any new warnings that are going to be issued or not yet. If that information does come across, of course, I'll let you know. Again, Grundy County, Marion County, rain is starting to pick up out ahead of this line. So while you don't have imminent storms in your area, the rain is starting to pick up. So again, don't be alarmed by that right now. Just know that line is still out to the west by a county. But just letting you know that the rain's going to be picking up in Chattanooga soon, also in Dunlap too, as that moves to the east. And eventually, with time, this line is going to move in your direction from the west and move its way to the east. And I just got in a new scan here of radar. I said this is updating about every 3 to 5 minutes on average, so we're getting some good, timely data here, especially considering this is a line of storms. And the movement of this here does kind of favor some good things on timing and things. That does help out a little bit on the timing aspect. All right, got a new update here. This is for that severe thunderstorm warning. Again, they've taken pretty much Lynchburg and Fayetteville out of this. So, as I said, you guys are all clear, but that just officially confirmed it right there, since they just removed y'all from the warning. But again, Franklin and the far southeastern end of Lincoln County, mainly the Flintville, Aurora area, that's the only part of Lincoln County in this warning. Again, still keeping the tornado possible tag. At 8:15, severe thunderstorm was located along a line extending from near Tullahoma to near Timms Ford Lake to 6 miles north of Newmarket. This is moving east at 40 miles an hour. Again, it keeps fluctuating in the speed a little bit. Again, storms do that. They'll fluctuate a little bit on the speed. Hazard is a 60 mile an hour wind gust. Hazard is 60 mile an hour wind gust. Source is radar indicated. And locations that are in the path of that include Winchester, Deckard, Estill Springs, Cowan, Huntland, Timms Ford Lake, Suwanee, Lincoln, and Lexi Crossroads. So those are the locations in the path of this severe thunderstorm warning. And I've not seen if they've updated Jackson yet. Let me see if they have. They have. At 8:08, severe thunderstorms located along the line extending from Hazel Green to Huntsville to the Huntsville Airport, moving east at 40. And again, this is moving towards, this is hazardous 60 mile an hour wind gust. It's radar indicated. Locations in the path of this thunderstorm in North Alabama include Huntsville, Madison, Moores Mill, Redstone Arsenal, Meridianville, Hazel Green, Owens Crossroads, Gurley, and Woodville. Woodville's in western Jackson County. That's who's in the path of that. So just reading you off some information there that I'm just getting in on those warning updates as they come in. Now, I do want to note something here that just caught my attention here. Just south of Estill Springs here, we are seeing a little bit of a small hook, and I'm actually seeing a little bit of velocity there. Nothing to panic over, but I am watching this little spot right here where you see the red and the green coming together right here. So let me illustrate that for you here. It's right there. So right here is the Alto community. So those of you around from the Nissan plant north over towards Alto, north side of Deckard, Rourke's Cove, got to watch this carefully right here because this is trying to spin up something right here. It's broad, but this is something that I've been looking for here at least all evening just to see what would happen on this, and unfortunately that's kind of what we're seeing here. Now let me check and make sure we don't have any. Good thing is we don't have any debris on that. That's good, but I am seeing a little bit right in here where you kind of see where it's trying to swirl a little. There is a little bit of rotation, some broad rotation aloft here that I'm watching. Just on the south side of Estill Springs. You won't see it because it's wrapped in rain and it's dark, so don't go looking. This is going to be moving right towards the Alto area. So if you're in that area of Franklin County, I would just play this safe and take my tornado precautions just to be on the safe side here. Again, I'm staying calm with this, and I want you to as well because this is not, there's no immediate warning on it, but it's just something we got to monitor here over the next few minutes, and it could very well weaken on the next scan. That's what we hope for, but at the moment, we got to watch this as this moves to the east. So Capitol Hill, so right along AEDC Road is where this is crossing over. So that'd be north of Walmart, that'd be north of the Crystal and all that, so this is just north of there by about a mile, and it's moving east, so it's going to pass just north of the Nissan plant there in Deckard by about a half mile to a mile, and then it's going to move right up towards Alto and eventually to Rourke's Cove. So that's going to be the trajectory of this little indentation that you see right here. And let me see if we got a new velocity, and it's still there. So we still got a little bit right there that I want to focus on. So it's broad, as I said. It's still there. So we're going to watch it. So right around Peabody Road, and there's AEDC Road right there. So Penile Hill, Oak Grove. Again, there's Nissan right here at the bottom of your screen. There's Greenhall. And this is moving out towards Alto. So The Alto area, there's Works Cove, and there's Wilder Chapel. So this is going to be the zone here where this crosses over. Again, there's not one on the ground, and I want to emphasize that. This is not on the ground. But when you see a signature like that aloft, a broad rotation like that, it has to be monitored. So again, what you're definitely going to see for sure, one thing I can promise you, is you'll see some strong straight line winds, probably in the order of 50 to 60 miles an hour. I just cannot rule out the possibility that this could try to briefly spin up a small tornado out of it, and that it's not impossible, especially as you get out here where this terrain starts interacting here, and the terrain could play a factor in this. So right in here is when you start getting into the higher terrain of the plateau up here as you get towards Suwannee and Mount Eagles. So there is a possibility that elevation here could either enhance this or weaken this as it moves towards the I-24 corridor here with time. So just a heads up there. And everything south of this, though, you got Deckard, Winchester, Belvedere, Huntland. This is just strong straight line wind down here that I'm watching. And then up here to the north, you got some strong winds moving into McMinnville, but these at the moment are non-severe at this time. Again, there's the new scan. Still there. Still got a little bit of weak. Still got a little bit of broad rotation. As I said, it's holding together. So that's the third scan it's shown this. So you can see that little notch right there that I'm watching. So those of you in Alto, I would just play this safe and go to my safe spot. And if you're in Pelham and Mont Eagle, I would be on standby. Don't do it just yet, but I would be on standby in case we get a warning for you here down the road. And let me check and see behind the scenes if we got any kind of tornadic debris. That might be something right there. Let me see if that correlates here behind the scenes with radar. No, it doesn't, so that's good. So that concerned me there for a second. But thankfully it didn't correlate there. But what I'm saying here is right in this area here, so let me get you a road on that. So that's Shelley Road and Knights Church Road there on the north side of Deckard. This is Franklin County, Tennessee. That's the spot where I'm seeing this little small hook here and potentially a little bit of rotation aloft developing, and that's moving towards I-24 and potentially down the road. Could impact Mont Eagle and the south side of Pelham. Even though actually on this path, I'll double check to make sure I'm saying it right. This would actually take it more towards Mont Eagle and Tracy as opposed to Pelham. It would kind of clip the south side of town, but this would actually be more for Mont Eagle and Tracy if it were all together. So it's just something we'll have to watch here. And there's the new scan. As I said, we're getting fresh scans here every few minutes, and it's still there. So we still got a little bit of a notch there. To the north of all this, up here towards Arnold Air Force Base and Shady Grove and south of Hillsboro there could be some hail in that, some small hail potentially in that thunderstorm up there. And then just to check on western Jackson County here real quick, you guys also have some very strong winds and some a little bit of hail moving into your area too. I mean, these winds have actually ramped up a little bit the last scan. This is showing right here. Oh, wow, that's showing a 75, and that's not too far off the ground there moving into western Jackson County. So right around Francisco, Jericho area, that's actually where it's showing a little bit of stronger wind right there. So heads up and high top. And if that holds together, that might be a problem for Bridgeport. So heads up there for some potential for some damaging winds. Again, this did look a little weaker up here on this velocity scan. So back up here to northeast Franklin. This did weaken just a little bit there on that last scan, so that's good. That's encouraging to see, so we want to see that. Still got the notch, but thankfully the velocity came down a little bit. I said still weak, still kind of broad, but we're watching it. But at least I'm watching it there. And what you're seeing right here, where you see kind of where the intensities of the red here away from the radar here is actually strong enough to where you're kind of getting a little bit of a color contamination here. So right around Oak Grove and Greenhall, there's probably some pretty strong winds there that are strong enough to the point where you're getting a little bit of folding here on this radar. And then right over here towards Works Cove and Alto, that's going to be the zone next up for this. Again, if you're in Cowan, you're about to get in on the strongest thunderstorms here very soon. Mainly with damaging winds in it, some very heavy rain. You might have some pea-sized hail, but it's nothing big. And then again, rain picking up in Grundy County out ahead of this line, but this line's about to is knocking on your doorstep. We'll see what Nashville does as far as a warning's concerned. Because one thing to remember here, we have 4 different NWS offices here. North Georgia's covered by Atlanta / Peachtree City. North Alabama and Lincoln, Moore, and Franklin in Tennessee are covered by the Huntsville Weather Service office. The warnings are issued from there. And in Grundy and points north up to McMinnville, Nashville, Cookeville, this is all the warnings that are issued up here are covered by the Nashville Weather Service office. So there's a little bit of some changes here as this moves in. So we'll have to see what's decided here over the next few minutes. And I will check and see out of curiosity because I have this off. Let me see if they've issued any special weather statements. And the only one that I see is for Marshall County in Alabama. So I don't see any other statements there. So figured I'd touch on that there real quick. Again, looks like we don't have much of an update here right now, at least at the moment. We'll see, and there you go. So just as I said that, there's the new radar scan. It still has that notch right there, right over Oak Grove. So that'd be Old Alto Highway is where that would be. Again, a little bit of a notch there. And let's see if the velocities have updated at all, and we're waiting on that. So that'll probably be up in the next couple minutes. But there's 64. Here's I-24. There's 41A. This is staying north of the campus there. So at least this, if there were to be a small circulation, it actually would stay north of Suwanee. And this would be a good deal northeast of Deckard and just north of Greenhall. So again, no official tornado warning, but I'm watching it here just to make sure it doesn't do anything surprising. The good news is on that last scan, it weakened quite a bit. So I think it's finally broadening out, but again, this is why you have to watch these things, because sometimes they can cycle, recycle, whatever. So thankfully, so if there was anything, it was probably very brief. Probably didn't last very long. If it did, can't confirm one way or another. But thankfully, it does appear that circulation has weakened quite a bit on velocities. And this is, again, what Doppler radar is about, is about catching this, and telling you where the winds are moving and all that. So I'm hoping, as this line continues to push farther east, we're hoping to see more weakening as this moves off to the east. But we're still going to get some pretty strong winds in here across Grundy County, Marion County, and the rest of Franklin County that's not been impacted by these thunderstorms yet. And I know you folks in McMinnville here, I know you don't have a warning up there, which is why I haven't focused on you as much. And we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning here. So real quick here, McMinnville, Spencer, heavy thunderstorms imminent, moving into your area, gusty winds, heavy rain, all that. Here's your new warning. So this is a new severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible tag again. This is for all of Jackson County. This is for all of DeKalb County, Alabama, and the rest of Franklin County that was not involved. So if you're in Sherwood and Suwanee, that you were on the edge of the last warning, you're actually now in a severe thunderstorm warning. And let me get you the information on that. That warning is going to go in effect until the next hour. So this is going to go in effect till 9:30. Let me read you the information here. At 8:26, severe thunderstorms are located along the line extending from 6 miles northeast of Deckard to near Huntland to near Gurley to near Morgan City. This is moving east at 50 miles an hour. Hazard is of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. It is radar indicated. Locations that are in the path include southern Huntsville, Scottsboro, Fort Payne, Winchester, Gunnersville, Rainsville, Bridgeport, Stevenson, Redstone Arsenal, Deckard, and Henniger. Those are the locations in the path. So this includes all of Sand Mountain. This includes all of Jackson County, most of Franklin County, northern Marshall County, including Gunnersville Lake, and pretty much all of DeKalb County, Alabama, except for Collinsville. That's the only part of DeKalb County, Alabama not in this. But the rest of DeKalb County and Alabama and all of Jackson and most of Franklin County, Tennessee, are in the warnings. And I want to stress right now, these are the only areas that have severe warnings. The counties I just named to you are the only counties, as of this minute, that have severe thunderstorm warnings or any kind of warnings in effect at the moment. So those are the areas I'm going to focus on. Boy, this is a really strong indication of wind moving into the Gurley area right now. That's a very strong. Let me see what they got on the wind on that thing. Oh, wow. Over 80 on that. Now, again, that's a loft, but I'm telling you, that's some very strong wind there moving into Jackson County. So if you're in Woodville and Pleasant Groves, I'd go to my safe spot because that's a very serious gust of wind there. It's moving into those areas, and that's going to move up towards Highway 79 and possibly the north side of Scottsboro if that holds together. So heads up down there. I mean, you got a very strong wind gust moving in. Probably 60 to 70 out of that thing at least at surface level. Aloft, that's like in the 80s aloft. So yeah, definitely a big yikes on that one as that moves towards the Highway 72 corridor there. And then back up here to the north again, Franklin County. No indications of rotation anymore. I've not seen it. That has went away. But still, you're getting some pretty strong winds in here. Very strong winds. Again, that could at least be 40 to 50 miles an hour and moving into Grundy County. So if you're out here towards Grutley, Colmont, Pelham, Monteagle, you're in Tracy, you guys are all going to get in on this here very soon. If you haven't gotten in on it, you will very shortly, because these are some very strong thunderstorms with some at least some small hail and heavy rain and the potential for some wind gusts in there. Again, that could be 40 to 50 miles an hour. No warning for you officially, but this is just giving you your heads up, and eventually that's going to move into Marion County and in Sequatchie County, Bledsoe, and also Van Buren. You guys are going to be getting on this activity very soon. So just giving you your heads up in that area, in those areas. And thankfully that came down a little bit there now in the new update there, just east of Gurley there, but still, that could still be some 60 to 70 moving towards Skyline, Hollywood, and Scottsboro, and even the Woodville area. So southwestern Jackson heads up, and same with the rest of the county. And again, this is also some really strong wind here, crossing Highway 65 in northwestern Jackson County, moving towards High Top, and this is what's going to get Stevenson and Bridgeport here if that holds together. So Bryant, Higdon, Flat Rock on Sand Mountain 2, you're going to get this as well. So this part right here is what will move into those areas. So here's what I'm going to do. While we're kind of in a bit of a lull, I guess you can say, in between warnings right now, at least as far as like new warnings being issued, let's go ahead and put some tracks on these so that way we can time it out and tell you when to expect it and where. So we'll check the speed on that real quick just to make sure that's right. So that's moving east at 50. And that's going to move basically right across most of Jackson. So we'll actually track for those of you in Bridgeport and Stevenson. That's going to be in your area there, so we'll put on the list there so you can see it. So High Top around 8:43, Stevenson around 9:03, 9:15 in Bridgeport, and 10:31 Eastern Time in Trenton, and then Whiteside in Marion County up there around the lake around 9:30, 9:35. And then we'll track this right here, moving up towards Grundy County as well. And I'll have to zoom in here to get you a better look at. There we go. That's better. That way I can get you more location information there. And I have to fan this out so I can get you a larger track. There we go. So again, Pelham around 8:40. So basically around right now. Around 8:40 also in Monteagle. Around 8:50 in Tracy City. 8:54 Colmont. Around 9 o'clock in Grutley. Palmer around 9:06. Same with Griffith Creek. And then Dunlap around 9:20. And then Soddy just after 10:30 Eastern Time. Also Sail Creek around 10:45 Eastern. So that's from this segment. And you got to remember, when it comes to these times of arrival here, I forgot to mention this earlier, but I do want to mention that when you see these times of arrival, they are estimated. So they are estimated. So I would always subtract about 5-10 minutes from what you saw. So if your time frame's like 8:44, you might, for example, you might want to assume it's 10 minutes early. Just to get you a little bit of a heads up early. Now, we also have another warning I just saw that came across, and that's for, let me get you information on that. That's a new warning. That's for Warren and Van Buren. So that part that was non-severe earlier is actually strengthened now to the point where it is severe. And there is a tornado possible tag on that, too. I'm not seeing any circulation in it here when I'm behind the scenes, but I am seeing some strong winds. So those of you in Van Buren County, the whole county basically, in areas east of McMinnville there in Warren County, so right around Spring Creek, Highway 8, Highway 30 area, that's going to be the spot under this warning. It says here, a severe thunderstorm was located 8 miles to the east of McMinnville, moving east at 55 miles an hour, so it's moving a lot faster. Hazard of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. It is radar indicated. Locations that are in the path include McMinnville, east side of town mostly, Spencer and Fall Creek Falls. So Spencer and Fall Creek Falls are in the path of that severe thunderstorm. And let me check the wind velocities up here and see if we got anything going on. No, as I said, definitely some very strong wind. When you get these strong browns and bright colors here, that's some very strong wind showing up. Again, that could be 50 to 60 mile an hour wind there, moving from Warren County into Van Buren. So right around Baker Mountain Road, where where 111 that intersection is, that exit is, and all that, moving towards Fall Creek Falls, that's the zone to watch out towards downtown Spencer. That's going to be the for damaging wind potential. And then checking on down here to the south, just make sure we don't have anything down in here too. Again, Jackson County, about the same thing. Again, new velocity skin still showing some very strong winds. So it's going to line up here pretty much all along 72 here. So those of you in Scottsboro, Stevenson, and Bridgeport, and eventually Sam Mountain. Also Fort Payne. Now, Fort Payne, you were not involved earlier, but now you're involved in the warning. So unfortunately, you're not going to get split because there's some merging happening of these storms here to the west. So, unfortunately, you're not going to miss out on this. This is heading your way. So, heads up towards Rainsville and Fort Payne. That's heading your way, too. And again, Marion County, you don't have a warning here, but you got some strong thunderstorms moving in your way. And I will be very surprised if there's not at least an advisory or something that's issued for you, at least for the wind on that. Because the wind still looks pretty strong. It's not as intense as it looks down in Jackson and points north, but still, I would still at least be away from windows there in Marion County as that moves in your direction. And we're getting a pretty good pocket of wind here moving into Grundy County right now. Looks like some 40 to 50. That 60 looks a little high there, but regardless, though, again, Grundy County, no warning, but again, you got some very strong winds moving through the region right now. Just out ahead of this main line, and there could also be a little bit of small hail, and there's some small hail being indicated near Pelham, but again, no circulations or anything like that, thankfully, at the moment. And no circulations up here towards Warren and Van Buren either. So that's some good news there. So there's Highway 8. Here's the southern end of the county. There's Cedar Grove. There's Spencer. So right where that speed limit there goes from 65 to 45 up in there and points south all the way down to Baker Mountain Road and down to the Sequatchie County line. That's going to be where the heaviest part of this is moving towards. So heads up towards Fall Creek Falls. I mean, these kind of winds, they can do some tree damage over there with all those trees they got over there. So again, heads up out that way towards Fall Creek Falls. Get away from windows and just ride us out away from windows here until it passes. And again, this will clear. As I said, we'll go in and get some all clears too, by the way. I forgot to do that too. So once that line clears you, you're good. So McMinnville, you're good. Smithville, you're good. Woodbury, Manchester, Tullahoma, Winchester, Deckard, Huntland, Lynchburg, Fayetteville, Huntland, you guys are good. You have been cleared. So you folks there are all clear from this. This is moving to your east. You don't have a severe weather issue in those areas anymore. So those are the all clears that I can give you. Cowan, about 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. Right now it's 8:38. You can time me if you want. 8:43. You'll be done. It will still be raining, but the severe threat, that'll be over by then. So that'll be the good thing there. And same thing with Western Jackson County. You're almost done in Woodville. You just got this roughest part here. You'll be good after that. So again, that's where another area of very strong winds is indicated too. So 50 to 60 right along this leading edge. So heads up in Scottsboro. This is on your doorstep. It's almost there. And again, we're starting to get a little bit, as this moves over the radar site here, it's going to look weaker / a little muddled in here velocity-wise, because the reason why is because the closer you get to the radar, the lower the beam goes. So it gets, even though it gets pretty good once you get within 1,000 feet or so, it gets harder once it gets over that radar site to be able to see the full thunderstorm structure, really, because we get that radar hole right there. It makes it very difficult to be able to get down to the higher levels to see what's going on too. So the signature may look a little muddled in here as that moves across the northern end of Jackson County. But once it gets out here towards Bridgeport and Stevenson, the data will be a little bit better. So that'll be good there. And in fact, I'm actually seeing a little bit up in here. It's a little bit of weakening up here, thankfully, as it moves across Grundy County. So those of you in Grundy County, I'm actually seeing some weakening here, intensity-wise. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's still some very heavy downpours and some gusty winds up here. But as far as, severe goes, I'm not seeing it up here. That's why you don't have a warning. That's why you don't have a warning in Sequatchie. That's why you don't have a warning in, at least right now, in Bledsoe. Because this out here just to your west is not exhibiting those factors. Now in Van Buren County, this probably will change for Pikeville if it holds together up here to the north, because this part is severe. Because if you notice, the gusts up in here are a lot higher. Now this is high loft here, so that's 74.9. It's not happening at the surface. But I just saw they put out a new special weather statement, so I figured they were going to at least do that. So at least that for the wind. So I'll get you information on that in just a moment. But again, that's an advisory, not a severe thunderstorm warning. But so let me get you that information there real quick. Let's see here. See if I can get it loaded up here on this. Okay, here we go. This is a severe, this is not severe, but this is a strong thunderstorm advisory. So this is a special weather statement. This includes the following counties in Tennessee: Ray, Sequatchie, Bledsoe, Marion, Central Hamilton counties until 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. At 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:39 p.m. Central, Doppler radar was tracking a line of showers of emitted strong thunderstorms located along a line extending from near Spencer to near Skyline, Alabama. Movement was east at 55 miles an hour. Hazard is wind gusts of up to 50 to 55 miles an hour. The source is radar indicated. Locations that are in the path include Chattanooga, Dayton, Rockwood, that's Rome County, Dunlap, Jasper, Pikeville, Soddy Daisy, Signal Mountain, South Pittsburgh, and Spring City. Those are locations in the path of strong thunderstorms, not severe thunderstorms. So this blue shaded area you see right here, that includes Marion, Sequatchie, Bledsoe, so that includes the whole Sequatchie Valley, Hamilton, and Ray. This is all for a special weather statement, which is lower, just a level lower from a severe thunderstorm warning. Remember, severe level wind gusts start at 58, so this is just below that threshold. So that's also kind of a good sign in knowing that maybe the weakening that we've been hoping for may actually be happening. We'll see here within the next 30 minutes or so. We'll see if that trend continues. But right now, Sequatchie Valley over to Highway 27 corridor from Chattanooga to Spring City, special weather statement, strong thunderstorm advisory basically for 50 to 55 mile an hour wind gusts through the next hour till 9:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Here's the severe thunderstorm warning. Again, Warren County, I'm giving you the all clear because that's east of you now. The one warning we got in Tennessee is a severe thunderstorm warning for Van Buren County that runs in effect for the next 30 minutes until 9:15. And then this one here and I'm talking the far southeastern end of Franklin County because it's pretty much out of Winchester. So again, Cowan, you're good. You're clear now. Suwanee, a few more minutes, you'll be clear. Sherwood, about 10 more minutes, you'll be good. So really the only part of Franklin County experiencing strong to severe storms is currently Sherwood and Anderson. That's the only part of the county, and about the, we'll say, the jump-off area of Suwanee. Those are the only spots exhibiting severe thunderstorm criteria right now as far as warnings is concerned in Tennessee. Now, Alabama, we got northern Marshall County, we got DeKalb County, and all of Jackson here under this warning. And let me check the severe level gusts down here. Again, what will happen here is this switches from the towards to away here site. It may look like there may be some rotation here, but in reality, I've seen this happen over and over again. It's typically not. Now, that's not to say once this gets up Sand Mountain that there could be some interaction that may cause a brief spin up, which is why I'm sticking around here because we have this one warning, and especially when you got a tornado possible tag on it, just out of precaution. But again, this is definitely some very strong wind moving towards Highway 72. So if you're in Bridgeport and Stevenson, this is almost on top of you. And same with Scottsboro and Hollywood. This is almost on top of you as well. And then this is going to climb up Sand Mountain and affect all of the Sand Mountain communities. So again, you'll have some 50 to 60 mile an hour winds there for those of you atop Sand Mountain and down the mountain towards Fort Payne as well. So heads up here in northeast Alabama, you're under the gun for severe thunderstorms. Checking on those of you in Van Buren County. Now the heaviest wind is appearing to now shift, is now beginning to shift to areas along and east of 111. So this would pretty much be the Piney, Mooneyham, and Fall Creek Falls areas of Van Buren County that are actually seeing the severe thunderstorm activity right now. Good thing up in here, guess what I'm seeing up here also in the intensities? Weakening. Very encouraging. And this is probably why Morristown went ahead and just put out the advisory, because there are indications, as on at least on the Tennessee side, that we're seeing weakening here with time. So again, as I said, very encouraging. We'll see if that trend consistently continues. So that's just something that we're watching here over the next little bit. So just make sure that you are at least away from windows and just just somewhere inside safe and all that until this passes. Also, this heavy stuff here, again, Maude Eagle and Tracy, this is pretty much on top of you right now. So the heavier red you see here, this is pretty much moving over you right now. If it's not arrived in your part of Tracy City yet, it will very soon, I can promise. Also towards Colmont, more of this red moving over you. Beersheba, same thing. Grootley, this is on top of you too. That's where you're seeing some heavy rain and some gusty winds there. Palmer, this is getting ready to enter your areas soon as well. And then heads up, of course, for Sequatchie County, Bledsoe County. So Cartwright, Dunlap, Cagle, Fredonia, Lewis Chapel, Lone Oak, up towards Palo, Lee Station, Pikeville, New Harmony. This is all heading in your direction. And then it's going to go on the other side of Walton's Ridge and affect Dayton and Spring City, Evansville, Sale Creek, Saudi, Red Bank, Chattanooga. So pretty much all on Highway 27 there. And then it looks like I just got a new warning update here for southeastern Franklin County and also a part of Jackson and DeKalb. Let me read you that information here real fast. Hold on here. Let me pull that up. So this is the warning update that flashed there a couple minutes ago. Let me get that loaded up. And this will be, it says a severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 9:30. For persons in northern Marshall, Jackson, southeastern Madison, DeKalb, east central Morgan, and Franklin counties. At 8:34, severe thunderstorms located along a line extending from Maude Eagle to 9 miles east of Huntland to 6 miles southwest of Skyline. This is all moving to the east at 50 miles an hour. Hazard is 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. It's radar indicated. Locations in the path include Scottsboro, Fort Payne, Gunnersville, Rainsville, Bridgeport, Deckard, Henniger, and Stevenson. So again, that's an update I have on that severe thunderstorm warning in northeast Alabama and the far southeastern end of Franklin County. So I'm talking Sherwood, Anderson area, not Winchester, not Timms Ford anymore. This is east of you now by a long shot. So you're clear. Swanee, I'll go ahead and give you the clear. You're good there. Pelham, you're good. You're on the backside now. You're safe to go to bed. Just letting you know there. So the only areas right now in Franklin County that have any kind of imminent strong storms are Anderson and Sherwood. That's it. The rest of the county's good. And again, Marion County, my home county, folks, we've seen weakening, but you're getting some strong winds here that could be 40 to 50 miles an hour here. Again, below severe levels, nothing dramatic. Moving across I-24 right now, so Martin Springs, Battle Creek area. And then that's going to move towards Foster Falls, then down to Jasper, and then South Pitt, eventually Whitwell, Kimball, Nickajack Dam area. The whole county's going to get this. But thankfully, I've not seen any indications of any spinning or anything crazy. The severe stuff, I can safely say, is on the Alabama side. I know it's bad news for those of you watching on the Alabama side, but as far as the Tennessee side is concerned, at least at the moment, I'm not seeing anything really dramatic or severe other than this one warning that we still have up in far eastern Van Buren County that includes Fall Creek Falls and Mooneyham. And that's about to move out of those areas. So, again, the way this is broadening out right here, I just don't see, unless it strengthens, that there will be a need to extend that warning into Bledsoe or Cumberland. But, again, just be prepared for strong winds up in that area. Now, here is something I'm watching here. I want to note this here. There is actually some legitimate circulations trying to pop up here in central Jackson County, I want to note. And let me show you where they are. This popped up here very fast. This right here is on the northwest side of Scottsboro. Here's one trying to form west of Fackler. Again, Jackson County. This happens a lot down in here with these kind of situations. The terrain and everything. This can happen. No formal warning on these. But again, I don't want you to be caught off guard in case we were to get a small spin up down in here that heads towards the 72 corridor and the top Sand Mountain here. So hopefully the rain out of this can help maybe weaken this. But again, as this line continues to stay pretty healthy here, especially down in here in northeast Alabama, at least on the damaging wind side, I cannot totally rule out the possibility, especially when you have a tornado possible tagged severe thunderstorm warning, to where you could get a small, brief spin up out of it. So heads up out here for Scottsboro and points east up atop the mountain here to the 71 corridor there in eastern Jackson County. Just giving you your heads up there that you could have maybe a little bit of rotation here, at least aloft, that could potentially try to spin up something there down the road. So just want to give you a little heads up there. I'm also getting some indications. Looks like a little bit of a hail course forming up in here. So Tracy City, you're probably getting some hail on the south side of town. So that would be Langford Town area towards Myers Hill, Pryor Ridge, I should say. Yeah, Pryor Ridge. Over towards the Pocket, Griffith Creek. You may have a little bit, nothing to really panic over, but you may have a little bit of small hail in this thunderstorm. So don't be alarmed if you hear it. But you got a little bit of small hail being indicated here on the southeast side of Tracy there. That's moving to the east. And that's going to head towards Cartwright and Whitwell down the road too if that holds together. So there may be a little bit of small marble-sized hail or so moving across 41 there in the vicinity of White City and Myers Hill there near Tracy. And that's moving off to the east towards Griffith Creek and the Pocket and Mount Olive. So that's something to watch there in northern Marion County. But again, nothing crazy, but you may get a little bit of hail there. And there may also be a little bit of small hail too, crossing over South Pitt Mountain, about to move into Sweetens Cove. So there may be something there too. Well, this as far as the small hail potential is there. So mainly, again, the main threats here on the Tennessee side. Small hail, gusty winds, torrential rain. That's pretty much the main threat with this. So basically, if you draw a line from, we'll say, Orme and Anderson up through Foster Falls, Tracy City, Grootley, Dunlap, Cagle, Fall Creek Falls, and the east, that's where the zone is right now for strong winds and possibly a little bit of small hail in this. Nothing too dramatic, but it's something that it'll be noisy. But at the moment, I'm not seeing anything that really concerns me as far as a rotational standpoint or anything really dramatic. And right in here, as you can see right here, it's pretty much all linear. Got a lot of bright red in here, and that's an indication of strong wind. But I'll just go ahead and tell you right now, that's all I'm seeing. Strong straight line wind. Now that of course, and we now have a tornado warning for Jackson and DeKalb County. So that rotation I was just tracking right over Scottsboro, there's your tornado warning. Let's get the word spread on this, because this is a tornado warning for Sand Mountain and for Scottsboro. This is very important here. So just that little circulation I was just mentioning right over Scottsboro has been warned on. So let's get you the information on that. This is radar indicated until 9:15. This is a tornado warning for central Jackson County and northeastern DeKalb County. It says 8:52, severe thunderstorms capable of producing both tornadoes and straight-line wind damage were centered over Scottsboro, moving east at 45 miles an hour. These dangerous storms will be near Scottsboro and Hollywood around 8:55, so right now, Pisgah around 9 o'clock, Henniger around 9:05, and Ider around 9:10. Other locations impacted by this tornadic storm include Dutton, Martintown, Rosalie, and Hammondville. So this is a tornado warning for those of you in central Jackson County into northern DeKalb County, Alabama. And this is this little circulation I was talking about a few minutes ago, right, that I was saying that needed to be watched, right in the vicinity of Scottsboro. It's not very strong. It's broad, but it is enough, given the history of tornadoes that have happened in this area over the years, that there could be a small tornado involved. Let's see if we got any debris. Thankfully, we don't have any of that, so this is a radar-indicated rotation. So, again, those of you in central Jackson County, now, let me stress this point. At this moment, this does not include Stevenson. This does not include Bridgeport, so you're not in this tornado warning. If you're out in Skyline, this is not for you. If you're in High Top or Woodville or Section, this is not for you. This is mainly for Scottsboro, Hollywood, Dutton, Pisgah, Henniger, Ider, and Hammondville, and also Rosalie. Flat Rock is on the edge of this, so Flat Rock is just outside this. But even if I was in Flat Rock, I would just play it safe and seek shelter there. But at the moment, the main area of concern is moving into Hollywood as we speak. So if you're in Hollywood, you need to be down low. Lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. If you got a basement, go there. If you don't, interior hallway, bathroom, or closet. The same thing applies for Pisgah, Dutton, Henniger, and Eider. Same thing applies there. Tornado safe spot right now in those areas. Because you could have a tornado that may form at any time. And there may also be, I want to notice, there may be a broad circulation trying to form up here south of Stevenson here. You see this little notch right here. We'll have to watch that carefully too, because if that were to strengthen, we may get a tornado warning up in here that goes to the Dade County line. So if you're in Dade County in particular, you definitely want to be on standby with this because, again, you may get a severe thunderstorm warning and you may even get a tornado warning. So right now my main focus is this tornado warning there for Jackson County and northern DeKalb County, Alabama. And again, that goes into effect, if you're just tuning in, it goes into effect here until 9:15 Central. That's 10:15 Eastern Time. So it's for this little, and unfortunately the reflectivity is very hard to see on here, but so it's not a good indication. But what I can tell you here is due to this velocity signature here, you got the reds and greens broadly meeting here. That's going to be the zone where there could be a tornado right there. So let me draw that for you and show you where that's heading. And that's going to move in a direction like this. So that's going to take it right up towards Rosalie, Pisgah, and Eider. So those of you in those areas need to be sheltered right now. If you haven't gotten there, you need to do so. Henniger, same thing. You know, it looks like it's going to pass to your north. I wouldn't bank on that. So I would definitely stay sheltered there. Dutton, seek shelter. Even though you'll be south of this mostly, I would still seek shelter in Dutton. And Hammondville's also in this polygon. So if you're in Hammondville down there, even though it looks like it's going to stay to your north, I would be sheltered there too. Valley Head, you're not in this. Fort Payne, you're not in this. So if you're in Fort Payne, Rainsville, or Valley Head, you're not in this warning. So down there, you're good. But this is the zone right now that warrants attention. Now, it's not the strongest circulation we've ever seen, thankfully. So it's weak, but it's enough to where we have to monitor for a potential spin up here. And there could be a small circulation here trying to form to the south and west of Stevenson, basically in the vicinity of Crow Creek and all that. We'll have to watch carefully too as that gets ready to move up towards Higdon. So just some areas of concern. So again, the main area of concern right now, imminent severe weather danger, is northeast Alabama. So it's Highway 72 and east in Jackson County and DeKalb County, Alabama, where there's not only a possible tornado being indicated, possibly two of them, there's also the indication of damaging winds. Now, just to not ignore anybody on the Tennessee side, you got some heavy rain, gusty winds, and perhaps maybe a little bit of small hail moving into the Sequatchie Valley, so Marion, Bledsoe, Sequatchie counties. So from South Pitt and Jasper north to Pikeville, you can expect heavy rain, gusty winds, and maybe a little bit of small hail, but nothing dramatic. The good thing is, though, these storms on the Tennessee side are non-severe. Hamilton County, Ray County, same thing there. You can expect the same thing as the Sequatchie Valley. And I think I can go ahead and give Van Buren an all clear from that severe thunderstorm warning. So if you're in Spencer, you're good. Same with Fall Creek Falls. This is to your east now. Same with Sherwood and Anderson. You're clear there as well. But again, right back to this tornado warning, because this is, remember, tornado warnings are first priority here. So that's going to be the priority here until this expires. Even though I will go out, fan out a little bit to show overviews here every few minutes. Again, here's something that is a little bit of interest here, as I said a little bit ago. Again, there could be a weak circulation here passing on the south side of Stevenson. You technically don't have a tornado warning up there, but I would just seek shelter out of precaution there, and also in Flat Rock. So Flat Rock, Higdon, Stevenson, got to keep an eye on this, because it could potentially try to spawn a potential quick spin up out of this. So just make sure that you are seeking shelter in those areas until this passes, even though you don't have a formal tornado warning. If you're in Bridgeport, you'll be good. So Bridgeport, you're fine. And I would even say Bryant, you're fine up there too, on the northern tip of the mountain up there. I think you'll be good there. But again, really, it's about Higdon and south is where I'm watching for the potential of a tornado in there. So let's check on this actual warned circulation here. And as I said, it's not really too strong. But again, if you're in Pisgah, if you haven't taken cover there, you need to do so right now. This is where you have an imminent tornado there right now in that area. So if you're in Henniger, if you're in Eider, you need to be seeking shelter right now. So right along Highway 40, also along Highway 71 up there, and also 117 in that area. Those are the spots that need to be seeking shelter. Also along Highway 75. So north out of Sylvania and up atop towards the Eider, Beatty Crossroads area, that's going to be the spot that needs to be seeking shelter at this time, at least until the warning expires. Now, again, I'm not seeing any other, at least at the moment, I'm not seeing any other indications of rotation other than this other little area trying to form on the south side of Stevenson here, but let me see if we got a new scan there. Again, unfortunately, with the way, and this is why you never want to go out and look for this, because notice all this rain here. It's dark, number one, outside. Number two, you would not see anything. It's all wrapped in rain. So, in other words, you would not even be able to see a tornado. So, again, that's what I'm saying. If you're from Stevenson and Higdon south all the way down to Dutton, that's why I'm saying you need to just seek shelter, because that's why, you need to make sure you're seeking shelter, because you're just not going to see anything. You go outside, you ain't going to see it. So just go ahead, go to that basement, lowest interior room. And again, if you live on a multiple level house, you go to the lowest level. That's the first floor. So go into a hallway, a bathroom, a closet, something that's away from outside walls and away from windows. That's just something that you want to do down in those areas. So again, I will go ahead and give you, if you're in Scottsboro, you're clear. So Scottsboro and Hollywood, the danger's over. So if you're in those areas, you are all clear from the severe weather threat. And in fact, that warning has been reduced. So just to account for that. I know they still technically have Scottsboro in it, but since this is east of you, you're all clear. So Scottsboro, Hollywood, you're safe. Pisgah, you're not. This is almost on top of you. I mean, this is basically about on top of you right now. So there is a small circulation there. Not very strong, but it's enough to watch. It's moving towards Rosalie. So if you're in Rosalie, I know you guys up in here have a long tornado history. So far, this is not showing signs of anything significant. But we still need to take our tornado precautions up here, because that can change very quickly. It's weather. Things can happen. Things can change fast. So that's why I'm saying everybody up here around Henniger, Pisgah, Eider, even as far south as Hammondville and up to Flat Rock and also Rosalie. That's why I'm saying you guys need to be sheltering, because you just never know. I mean, even if it looks weak the way it is, even with how weak it looks, it could still pop down a small tornado. And that can still cause damage. I mean, EF0, EF1 variety, it doesn't matter. A tornado's a tornado, and all tornadoes are damaging. So just make sure you're staying sheltered in those areas. And I'll do a quick overview here for those that may be just tuning in, just so we don't forget anybody on accident. Tennessee side, you don't have severe weather worries at this time. So from Marion County up 28, so you could pretty much say from South Pitt, Kimball, Jasper, Little Squatchy, Whitwell, Cartwright, Dunlap, Pikeville. Strong storms are moving in right now as I speak, and also New Hope too. This is all moving to the east. You got some heavy rain. You got gusty winds. Up in here where you see this little pink up here towards the Pocket, Griffith Creek, Whitwell area, you may have a little bit of small hail, but nothing dramatic. But really what this is more of is torrential rain and gusty winds. Those winds could be 40 to 50 miles an hour along the leading edge and with that rain. So the rain you see, it's going to be blowing in sideways. It's going to be loud, it's going to be noisy, but you do not have a severe weather threat up in here across the Squatchy Valley and points east to Chattanooga and Dayton. So again, get ready in Chattanooga and Soddy and Dayton, because this is all moving in your direction here very soon. So you're going to have some gusty winds, you're going to have heavy rain, but so far I have not seen, and I'll double check velocity real fast because I got to go back to this tornado warning down south. But yeah, got some strong winds here as indicated by the bright, we'll just say apricot and also red in here, this bright red and apricot here. That's where it's showing the strong winds. So again, 40 to 50 up here across southeast Tennessee. Now let's get back down here to Alabama. Now the good thing here is that the one little weak circulation I was noticing near Stevenson has broadened out and it's not in existence anymore. That has kind of roped itself out, so that's good. I'll tell you one thing, though, that's producing some strong wind up in here, as you can see by the bright colors. So that could be some 50 to 60 mile an hour wind there moving atop the mountain. So stay away from windows up here around Bridgeport and around Bryant down towards Higdon and also towards Flat Rock. I would definitely stay away from windows. And then down here to the south in Pisgah, there's a rotation center that's on top of you. It's weak, but it doesn't mean it can't pop down one. So just stay safe up in here. Again, but also some other areas, Keefe, Townsend Crossroads, Pea Ridge Crossroads, New Home, Stamp, Browntown, Fairview, Central. Now, I would go into street level a lot of these, but unfortunately, these are thing is most of these roads down here in Northeast Alabama, they're all county roads, the rural roads, so it really wouldn't make sense to read all those. But the ones I will tell you is Highway 40, 71, 75, and here's I-59 over here, so 117. So these are the areas on top of Sand Mountain that need to seek shelter. Again, there's lots of different county roads, farms, and everything else, businesses, houses, everything up here. So all these areas need to be seeking shelter right now. Again, Scottsboro, Hollywood, you're good. All clear there. Section, this is not going to impact you. Langston, this is east of you, so I'll give you an all clear there in Langston. And Stevenson, you're just about out of it, so you're almost clear in Stevenson. About 5 more minutes and you'll be good there. Also, Dade County and northern Walker County, you have a significant weather advisory that was just posted for 40 mile an hour wind gusts and some, it looks like some small hail there as well for a thunderstorm that's ran out ahead of the line. And that's going to expire in about 38 minutes, so 10:45 Eastern time for you. That's I'll just call it a strong thunderstorm advisory. Again, not a severe warning. And that's for Dade and Walker. And then here's the new velocity scan. Again, it's right over Pisgah and Morris Mill right now. So there's 71 right there as it crosses the top of the mountain there. There's Central. There's Schrader, Rosalie, Keefe, Beatty Crossroads. So this is the whole Eider area basically. Gang Crossroad. There's Pea Ridge Crossroads. This is just north of Hammondville. But Hammondville, you're in the polygon. You know, you need to respect that and just seek shelter. Valley Head, not so much. Valley Head, you're good because you're south of this. Now, Sulphur Springs in DeKalb County, you're technically not in a tornado warning, but I would just seek shelter anyways because you're close enough. And again, so far, I'll check the debris, and thankfully, we have not seen anything on that. So that is some great news. We don't have any debris being lofted. So hopefully that means that this rotation will continue to stay aloft and not hit the surface, because if it hits the surface, it could cause damage. So that's why I'm saying if you're on Sand Mountain, just make sure you're seeking shelter away from windows. Again, if you're in Fort Payne, this is not an issue for you. So again, Fort Payne, this is north of you. Rainsville, I'm keeping an eye on this back out here because I just noticed this popped up to the corner of my eye too. There's actually a little bit of a weak circulation here moving towards Powell, so this could be a close call for you in Sylvania, but you don't have a formal warning at the moment. But again, just because you don't have a formal warning does not mean that you can't have it, so just a little bit of a heads up here towards Sylvania and up towards Northeast Alabama Community College. There is a little bit, and I mean just a little bit, of a broad rotation there. Nothing crazy, but it's something that will have to be watched as it heads towards I-59 eventually. So areas along Highway 75 here in DeKalb County, just make sure you're seeking shelter at this time. Again, let's check out some of these winds also up in here in the northeastern end of Jackson County, because these are pretty strong up in here. Again, there's some 60s showing up, some 50s and 60s. So this might get upgraded here to a severe thunderstorm warning for northern Dade if this holds together. But you got some very strong winds in here moving up into Bryant and Higdon right now. So it's moving across Bridgeport, just getting out of Stevenson, and it's moving right up the mountain into Bryant and Higdon, and it's going to eventually move up towards Coal City, New Home area of Dade County, and eventually towards Trenton, Lookout Mountain. You guys are all next in line for this strong punch of wind as that moves to the east. So if you know anybody, I don't know if anybody's out at Rock City tonight for the lights. If you know somebody that's there right now, I would give them a text or a call, tag them, whatever, give them a heads up, make sure they know that there's a strong line of thunderstorms that's approaching, that's going to be there within the next 30 minutes or so. So if you know anybody that's outside up there at Rock City or outside doing anything out and about this evening or tonight in the Chattanooga metro area, just make sure they know that strong thunderstorms are moving in. They're going to produce some wind, some very heavy rain. The tornado threat, thankfully, at least for the Chattanooga metro, is staying south. But for those of you on Sand Mountain, unfortunately, you got that possibility. So again, here's the update on that circulation. It's pretty much out of Pisgah now. So I won't give you all clear just yet in Pisgah. I'll give you about 5 more minutes to sheltered, but the worst is just about to end there soon. Rosalie, stay sheltered. Central, stay sheltered. Keith, if you haven't gotten there yet, you need to get sheltered. Eider, same thing. Beatty Crossroads, same thing. And this is going to go all the way down to Hammondville and New Home in DeKalb County, Alabama. So those areas up there need to be sheltered. Now, I know we got 2 different new homes here. We got a new home in Dade County up there on the mountain and also a new home in DeKalb County. This involves the DeKalb County, Alabama side of New Home, not Dade County. So just to give some reference there. So again, this is pretty much approaching this broad circulation here that's not very strong, but still one to watch, is approaching the Jackson-DeKalb County line as we speak. And it's moving right towards from the 71 corridor over to the Highway 75 corridor. And it's doing so very quickly. Let me get a movement on that. That's moving east at 45 miles an hour. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to give a track on this. I forgot to do this earlier. So let me double check, make sure that speed's right. So yeah, 45. And we'll track that out. And I'll actually track it into parts of Dade and Walker here just to be on the safe side. At least, well, this circulation, yeah. But so what I'll do is I'll zoom in a little closer so we can get some more communities that might pop. And I think that's about it. So we'll track that from the leading edge. It's right over Henniger there. And unfortunately, it's not going to pop up a lot on here. But again, Eider. So again, Henniger, it's about on top of you right now. So 915. Seek shelter if you haven't. 920 in Eider. And if it were to hold together, and that's a big if, hopefully it weakens before then, but if it were to hold together, this will be near Rising Fawn here pretty soon. This will also be near Rising Fawn here by about 9:30-ish, 9:40. And then after that, Lafayette. This will be near your area around 10:50 Eastern Time, 9:50 Central Time. Again, that's if this holds together. I'm hoping to weaken before then, but if the circulation were to hold together, that's where it'll be going. It'll be in your area closer to 11 o'clock your time, which will be 10 o'clock Central Time. So let's check the velocities here on that. Let's see what we got here. And make sure we don't have anything else. And there you go. There's the new update. And the good thing is this circulation continues to broaden out. And the one that I was tracking down near Rainsville, that has dissipated. So some good news there. So we're seeing some very encouraging things here for those of you in on Sand Mountain, thankfully. So thankfully I haven't seen anything that's really intensified and anything significant. So some great news there. But again, definitely some very strong wind. And if there were to be a small tornado, it would be in this bright spot you see here on the north side of Henniger there, getting ready to cross 75. And eventually towards I-59. So if you know somebody that's traveling along I-59 or about to, do not go south of Dade County. Really don't go south from Wildwood. And don't come up from Gadsden. Just avoid DeKalb and Dade counties right now. Let these storms pass by. So again, right now, I would advise no travel along I-59 between Wildwood and Collinsville until this line passes. Get through because these type of winds, 60-mile-an-hour winds, they can be tough. They'll be tough on truck, and that could cause problems. So that's what I'm saying. Let's just not try to travel here from Collinsville. Between Collinsville and Wildwood there on I-59 until this line passes. Now, let's give some all clears here real quick on the Tennessee side. So, basically from Highway 28 and west in the Sequatchie Valley, so that includes all the cities and towns on there. So, Jasper, Whitwell, Dunlap, Pikeville, you're good, you're clear, you're finished. No severe weather for you anymore. South Pitt, you're good too. Not to forget about you. Same with Kimball and New Hope. You guys are good there as well. Back to the west, Grundy County, Van Buren County, McMinnville, you're clear. Crossville, you're clear. So basically, if you draw a line from, we'll say, Scottsboro and up through the Squatchy Valley and west into Middle Tennessee, you are clear from any severe storms. You do not have to worry about it anymore. So those are some all clears there. Again, Chattanooga, give it about 30 minutes and you will be out of the woods too. I mean, you don't have anything severe up here on the Tennessee side, but as far as like the threat of storms is concerned, you will be done with it here in about a half hour. So that'd be about 30 minutes roughly. So again, we'll focus on this one tornado warning here. As I said, I just want to make sure I don't forget anybody here. That's why I'm making sure all fronts are covered here up and down this line, because I got lots of viewers from different places. Just want to make sure everybody's covered here. And the good news is we have lost that tornado warning. It has expired. So if you're in Henniger, in Ider, in Hammondville, in Pisgah, Sylvania, Dutton, any place I said to take shelter earlier, you can come out now. Rotation is weakened. It's broadened out significantly, and the warning has expired. So the tornado warning for Jackson and DeKalb counties in Alabama has been allowed to expire, and has been replaced by the severe thunderstorm warning. And considering it still has that tornado possible tag on it, we're going to hang on here, because that way we can catch any little circulation like I did earlier. We can catch something here and be able to alert you here very quickly. Especially considering I got a lot of you that follow from Trenton and Chickamauga and Lafayette as well. I want to make sure you guys are, abreast to what's going on. So far though, it's looking better for you. So for Dade and Walker, it's looking a lot better for you. You'll still have some very strong winds, some heavy rain, maybe some pea to marble size hail, but nothing crazy. It'll sound crazy, but it won't be. At least right now, the way I'm seeing things, we should continue with time as this line continues moving farther east. We should continue to see gradual weakening. And that's why you're seeing more of these blue boxes, which are significant weather advisories, as opposed to the orange and red, which are severe warnings. That's why you're seeing more of the blue boxes here, because there is a gradual weakening trend that's continuing. Yes, you're still getting gusty winds and heavy rain, but you're not getting the severe level stuff. And that's very important. Now, to remind you on what severe criteria is real quick, severe criteria is a wind gust of 58 miles per hour or higher, or hail that's quarter size or larger, or a tornado. Those are the three things that are looked for a severe thunderstorm. So in order to have a severe thunderstorm, you have to meet one of those criterias. You have to have quarter size hail larger, or a wind gust of 58 miles an hour or greater, or a possible tornado. Those are the only three things that classify a storm as being severe, not lightning. So that's the thing, not lightning. It has to be one of those three criteria, as I just said, in order to have a severe thunderstorm. So just to let you know, and actually speaking of lightning, this is also encouraging. Notice there's only a few strikes on there. I've only counted about 3 or 4. That's another sign that these storms maybe are finally starting to chillax a little, finally starting to calm down a little bit. Not to jinx it here, of course, but that's another good sign. When you start seeing lightning decreasing, that also means that the storms themselves are starting. It may take time, but you are starting to see a gradual weakening trend, and I'm hoping that trend continues as these storms move into North Georgia and the remainder of southeast Tennessee here. Again, so we'll go up and down this line from south to north. So Sand Mountain, heavy rain, gusty winds, perhaps some small hail. Again, winds could be 50 to 60 here. This is the only warning that's valid right now. This severe thunderstorm warning. Tornado warning is canceled, or expires, I should say. But the severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for another 10 minutes for 50 to 60 mile an hour winds for pretty much mostly DeKalb County. If you're in Jackson, I'm giving you the all clear, but DeKalb County, Alabama, just, remain away from windows until that passes. You're the only area in our whole coverage area that has a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Trenton, Dade County, heavy thunderstorms are approaching you. Lookout Mountain, Rock City, heads up. Strong thunderstorms are moving in. If they haven't moved in, they'll be moving in very shortly, within the next 30 minutes. And then up towards Fordo, Rossville, this is heading in your direction. Also Chickamauga as well. Downtown Chattanooga, you're looking at about 15-ish minutes before this gets to you. And it's almost on your doorstep. So gusty winds and heavy rain are about to move in. Signal, It's a mess up in here down in here right now. So Signal, Walden, Mowbray, Flat Top area, about to move into Saudi. So getting ready to cross Highway 27 here very soon. Sail Creek, Graysville, Dayton, you're getting in on this now. And then Evansville, Spring City, Grandview area of Ray County, you're also getting in on this. And again, if you're in the Sequatchie Valley and points west, you're clear. So let's go ahead and give some heads up here to areas east. Lafayette and Walker County, Catoosa County, Chattooga County, they're around Somerville, Calhoun area, Dalton, Chatsworth, Cleveland, Benton, Ocoee, Ducktown, Decatur, Athens. Here's your heads up. You got strong thunderstorms moving in. These are non-severe up here, but you do have the potential for some strong gusty winds, some torrential rain with this as this moves in east in your direction. And then points south here. This now, if there were to be a severe thunderstorm, it will probably be in northwest Georgia because this is where the strongest activity is there across DeKalb County, Alabama, about to cross I-59 here pretty soon. That is going to end up moving across northwest Georgia here pretty soon. So within the next 30 minutes or so, you will be getting in on this for those of you watching from North Georgia. We now have a new advisory that has been issued. This is what we call a significant weather advisory. Also, just got in this report here real quick before I read you the advisory. There is some reports I'm just getting here. I just saw of some damage, probably some thunderstorm wind damage at Triangle Nursery in Irving College, Tennessee. So that's just south of McMinnville. So there is looks like some damage there being seen from someone that just posted this. So it looks like there is some damage at a nursery there called Triangle Nursery in Irving College. So just got in that report here on my feed. So just checking to see here, and that's the one report I do have is some damage at a nursery there in Irving College. And based on what I can see from the photo, it does appear that it looks to be mostly, just by the direction, that looks like straight line wind. Doesn't look tornadic. So again, there is so again, these storms are packing a punch. I will say that. I mean, the winds, they're packing a punch here. So they're definitely something to take serious here out ahead of this, especially if you're out here towards Chat and Cleveland and Athens and Polk County and also North Georgia, because even if they're technically below severe levels there, these storms are packing a punch when it comes to gusty winds. I mean, they are packing it. So that's why I'm saying to make sure that you are at least away from windows and, just being inside somewhere until this passes. Because, man, let me tell you, these pack a punch. So, again, lightning continues to decrease. But, again, the wind is the issue here. The wind, as I've said pretty much all along, the wind has been the big issue. I mean, even the gradient winds out ahead of this have been causing some issues. So, I've not heard anything on power outages as far as I know. I haven't read up in anything on that yet, but still, I mean, very intense stuff. So let's get back into tracking here. And again, we'll have to watch this leading edge down here in DeKalb County because sometimes you can get little circulations here that might form. Here's one trying to form south of Rainsville, moving north of Fort Payne here on the north side of town towards Isbell Field. So that might be an area to watch here down the road. And looks like they just issued a new warning for that area. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag, again, for DeKalb County, Alabama. So let me read you that information, and then I'll read you the special weather statement for the remainder of southeast Tennessee here. Because, like I say, I've been loaded up on all this here, all these warnings here. So let me get you the warning here first. This is for all of DeKalb County, Alabama. So up and down, no matter where you are in that county, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning until 10 o'clock Central. At 9:22, severe thunderstorms are located along the line extending from near Trenton to near Fort Payne to near Crossville, Alabama. And that's moving off to the east at 40 miles an hour. Hazard is 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. It is radar indicated. Locations in the path of this include Fort Payne, Rainsville, Henniger, Crossville in Alabama, Sylvania, Fife, Powell, Geraldine, Ider, and Valley Head. So those are the locations in DeKalb County in Alabama that are under that warning, and also in the path of that storm. So there could be potential damage to roofs, siding, and trees with that warning as well. Now let's get up here to the Tennessee side here and check out this new advisory that goes up pretty much almost into the Knoxville area as well. Gusty showers will affect Ray, Bradley, Meigs, McMinn, Hamilton, counties through 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. At 10:20 p.m. Eastern Time, Doppler radar is tracking gusty showers along the line extending from 7 miles north of Spring City to near Trenton, moving east at 45 miles an hour. Hazard are gusts of 50 to 55. Source is radar indicated. Locations in the path include Chattanooga, Cleveland, Athens, Dayton, and Decatur. And also in the path, technically outside the area, but if you have interests out there like friends or family, make sure those that are also in Kingston, Sweetwater, Lenoir City, and Rockwood and Loudon are also aware. So that's a significant weather advisory again until 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for most of southeast Tennessee. It includes Hamilton, Ray, Meigs, Bradley, and McMinn counties locally, and also regionally Loudoun, Roane, and the far northwestern tip of Monroe County. And we still got this one little advisory here across northern Dade into far northern Walker County. So that would include Lookout, that would include Covenant College, that would include the Walker County side of Fordo, Lakeview, Flintstone, Rossville. Those would be the areas involved in that advisory, as well as Trenton. And then down here to the south, and again, DeKalb County, Alabama is the only county right now locally that has a warning. So, again, as long as we have warnings here, that's where we're sticking on. And we have a new advisory that just got posted as I'm speaking. That's going to go into effect for Catoosa, Dade, Chattooga, and Walker County. So basically all of Walker is now in this, and all of Catoosa is as well. And as far as Chattooga, that would only include the Menlo area of the county. Not quite Trine and Somerville, but you're going to get storms there too. At 10:26, a line of strong storms was located along the line extending from near Lookout Mountain to near Hammondville. This is moving off to the east at 45 miles an hour. Hazard, 40 to 50 mile an hour wind and heavy rain. It's radar indicated. It says here locations, and let me read you this. This is an interesting impact thing here. It says, expect minor damage to tree limbs and blowing around of light unsecured objects. Heavy rain may cause temporary street flooding, especially in poor drainage areas. Locations that are in the path of this include Lafayette, Ringgold, Fordo, Chickamauga, Chenega Valley, Center Post, Blue Spring, Fairview, Linwood, Cloudland, Villanelle, Cloudland Canyon, Cooper Heights, Rock Spring, Naomi, Rising Fawn, Suttles Mill, and Noble. Those are the locations in northwest Georgia that are in the path of these storms right in here. So the most encouraging thing is as these storms move out of Alabama, they do appear to be weakening with time as they move to the east. Now, we still got to watch this leading edge here. We can't let our guard down just yet because we could have a quick little re-intensification of a stronger wind gust, and it's very low. It's not zero, but there could be also, I cannot rule out that you may get one brief spin up that can randomly occur out of this. So we got to watch these areas very carefully. In fact, I'm actually seeing something a little bit what may look like one trying to get going right there near the vicinity of Rising Fawn. But you're definitely getting some strong wind there, but we got to watch that carefully because that could be trying to do something there. So pretty close to where you have that outdoor wedding thing that's right there on top of the mountain, the Macklemore Resort area, and out towards Kensington. We'll have to watch that carefully right here. Moving into Walker from Dade County. And that's going to move towards Noble and the north side of Lafayette. So strong wind potential here, 40 to 50 miles an hour. And right in here, there may be some weak evidence of a little bit of weak circulation aloft. But so far it hasn't been anything dramatic. And down here in DeKalb County, towards Fort Payne, I haven't seen anything really crazy as the last few scans. This has broadened out quite a bit. This is mostly gusty wind as that moves off to the east. And again, if the computer's jumping off a little bit here, I do apologize here because my computer's been doing some funky things here. Sometimes the connection gets a little crazy on me, but so far, at least it's behaved well. But if it does anything wild, like crazy, like zooming out rapidly or something, please understand that. But as we get back up here to the Tennessee side here real quick, just so we don't forget anybody, again, Dayton, you're pretty much on the back side of this now. And then downtown Chattanooga is getting hammered like right now. So Lookout and downtown are both getting hammered. Heavy rain, gusty wind there. Hickson, Red Bank area too. Saudi, you're in on this. Lakeside's getting into it. Harrison's almost into it. So Ooltewah, Collegedale, get ready. This is moving in. Hamilton Place, get ready there too. Appleton, Harrison area up towards Snow Hill, Georgetown area, also Cleveland. This will be heading into your area soon. Decatur, this is knocking on your doorstep up there in Meigs County. Also 10 Mile, heads up that way. Got some heavy thunderstorms moving into your area. And also Athens, this is about 30 minutes from you. So if you're in Athens and McMinn County, just make sure you're away from windows and all that until this passes. And again, if you're from the Sequatchie Valley and Jackson County points west, you're all clear and you can go to bed. So that's some good news there. And again, I want to emphasize real quick that the only severe warning that we have locally is for DeKalb County, Alabama. And that's going to go in effect here through the next 30 minutes until 10 o'clock Central Time. And then and out ahead of this, we just got these advisories here that run out from Dade, Walker, Catoosa, Chattooga counties and points north into Hamilton, Bradley, Eastern Ray, east of Highway 27, into Meigs and McMinn counties. Now, I do have some viewers in Polk County, a few of them there. This is heading in your direction, so you guys in Polk County will be seeing this too, as well as Murray County. So that'd be Chatsworth area. So heads up out there. If you're watching from those areas, you got some strong thunderstorms moving in, but so far, they've been on a weakening trend, a gradual weakening trend. I know with the intensities, they may not look like it, but when you're starting to see more of these blue polygons, which are the advisories as opposed to warnings, that's an indication that these storms are gradually with time losing their intensities as they move east into more stable air. And I'm going to be honest with you, tonight overperformed. Going into this, it didn't look like much. But what can happen sometimes, as I said earlier, what can happen is sometimes that stronger shear aloft with these strong cold fronts and low pressure systems, that can sometimes somewhat override that weak instability and can allow storms to overperform and be able to do this kind of stuff and produce all the warnings and everything else. So sometimes, and let me tell you, December storms and wintry type storms are the most hardest to predict and be able to be right on because of that reason. Because they're so, the dynamics and everything involved make it very complicated. So again, what happened tonight was an overperformance from what was previously expected. We weren't even in a severe risk this morning. It didn't get upgraded until around midday because there was just, we just happened to have a little more juice than expected and a little bit more, lift than expected, and that's what's allowed these storms to keep going. So sometimes you don't need much heat this time of year, and that's the thing during the winter months. You actually don't need as much heat to get storms going, unlike you do in the spring. All you need is some strong wind energy and just a little bit of cape, and you get these big storms. So it's very common to get these low cape, these low instability, high shear type of events here, and it's common to happen. So we've had them several times before, many times. Sometimes though you can get surprised in a bad way from them. So that's what some of them watching here. And so far, I haven't seen any kind of along this leading edge here in DeKalb County or Northwest Georgia or even Tennessee. I've not seen, at least in the last 5 minutes, nothing really crazy on the rotation or just some very strong winds here. And I'll go ahead and show that to you again. Even the wind intensities in DeKalb County have actually dropped a little bit. Let me take a drink of water here real quick. Excuse me. Even the wind intensities here have dropped a little bit. They're still strong, but 40 to 50, that's still going to be noisy. But at least we're not seeing those 60s and 70s that we were seeing earlier. So that's very encouraging. So as long as we keep it below severe criteria the rest of the night here, as this moves towards the I-75 corridor in North Georgia and East Tennessee, I think we'll be pretty good on the severe end of things here for the rest of the night. We may not even get another warning, which would be the best part, if this trend can continue. And that's the thing. I say if because there's no guarantees in weather. No guarantees. So that's just something I'm keeping in mind here. But again, if you're in Jasper and Scottsboro and Dunlap, Pikeville, Monteagle, Winchester, and you're watching still, you are good. You're clear. I'll go ahead and say that real quick again, too. But again, if you're in Dalton, forgot to mention y'all, if you're watching from Dalton, you got some thunderstorms that are going to be moving in again also within the next half hour to 45 minutes. So get ready out there in the Dalton area. Also in Ringgold. Ringgold, this is almost on top of you. But really in Fort O, it's almost on top of you for sure. But Flintstone, this is moving overhead now. Look out on the Georgia side especially is getting hammered with some torrential rain and some gusty winds. And this is also moving into Rossville. And then eventually Lakeview, Fort O, Fairview area. And out towards Lake Winnie. This is going to move into that area, and then eventually out towards East Brainerd and also Ringgold. So also Collegedale, Ottawa, Appleton area, and then Bradley County. Bradley County will be next up. And then checking on you guys up here towards Ray, Meigs, and McMinn counties. So basically we'll call it the Spring City, Dayton, Decatur, Athens corridor. Nothing happening up here, at least on the severe indicators things, but you're seeing a pretty strong line here of some heavy rain and no lightning at all. I mean, in fact, the Weather Service in Morristown is calling this gusty showers, and that's the best way to describe this. I mean, torrential rainfall up in here and some gusty winds, but very little in the way of thunder or lightning being indicated up here. So this is going to be a quick shot of a heavy wind and heavy rain as that moves right across Meigs County as it is right now. So if you're in Dayton, Spring City, you're done. So Ray County, check mark, you're all clear. Meigs County, 5-10 more minutes and you'll be good. And then once this gets through, once it gets through there, then it's going to be McMinn County's issue. So Nyota, Athens, Etowah, Riceville, Charleston, Calhoun area. This is all going to be moving into your region here very shortly. And then points east from there. Again, get ready in Cleveland. This is moving in. Hopewell area of Bradley County. This is about to move in on your doorstep too. And then eventually Benton and Delano and Ocoee in the northwestern tip of Polk County. This is all heading in your direction too. And then we don't want to forget about this severe storm in eastern DeKalb County. Again, Fort Payne's getting hammered here pretty hard with some heavy rain, gusty winds. You're almost out of it. And we'll check velocities to make sure there's not any kind of surprise rotations. And thankfully, none of that at all. So that's the good thing. That is weakened considerably, and that is just a straight line wind signature. So good thing there. I mean, it'll still produce some. That could still knock down a small tree or something, but at least right now we're not seeing any indications of rotation there. But this is going to move into Chattooga County, Georgia here very soon. So if you're in Summerville and Tryon and down towards Lyerly and up to Menlo, you're going to be next up to see these strong storms. And then get ready up there in Lafayette. This is about to move in there shortly. It's coming off Lookout right now. It's coming down the mountain. So right over where Macklemore is and all that, that's moving right down the road to you. So get ready in Lafayette and Noble and Rock Spring and up through Chickamauga, Fort O, Ringgold area. This is all moving in your direction. Also Villanelle there in the southeastern tip of Walker County. This is also heading in your direction too. And as I said, with every radar scan, it's just inching closer and closer and closer to you. And I'm checking the velocities, and I just checked the velocity and debris signature there because it looked a little interesting down there southwest of Lafayette, but thankfully I didn't see anything that really stuck out to me. But I will check this one little mark that is a higher wind gust. It's probably a little high there. It's showing a 62 right there, but again, at the surface, that's probably more like 40 to 50. So that's a pretty strong gust there moving towards Lafayette. It's below severe levels, but you got a strong gust of moving in your direction. Again, Dade County, forgot to mention y'all, but Dade County, y'all are good. So you're in Dade County, you're all clear. You're as far as storms are concerned. You're all clear from that, you're good. So check mark. You can go to bed. I'll even say downtown Chattanooga, at least the downtown area, you're good, and up towards Red Bank and Signal. So downtown north of the river, you're out of the woods here now. But areas east of downtown, specifically from the Ridge and east, towards the mall, the Hamlin Place, and out towards Ottawa and such, that's going to be the zone here over the next 20 minutes that still needs to be on guard for strong storms that are non-severe, but they are pretty noisy. And again, the wind mode up here It's a little stronger up in here, but this is definitely overdone up in here. We're not seeing 70s or 80s up here. That's way up aloft. But what I am seeing up in here is probably some 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts, moving pretty much right along I-75. So this is knocking on the door there of Riceville and Athens and Nyota here. So heads up in there. And if you know anybody that's traveling towards Knoxville or back from Knoxville, just make sure they know that they have some strong thunderstorms they're running into. And another update here on this warning for DeKalb County, because I just saw the flashing update. Again, Rainsville, Geraldine, Henniger, you're good. You're all clear. So Sand Mountain, all clear. Marshall County, all clear. Jackson County, all clear from storms. So basically, you draw a line from I-59 and west, you're good. I-59 is good to travel now. So really the heaviest part of the heavy rain and storms in DeKalb County that's being warned on is mainly over Mentone and down towards Collinsville and Little River Canyon. Those are the spots in Adamsburg and also Pumpkin Center and some of those other areas there atop the lookout there in DeKalb County. That's the zone where there could be where there's the strongest wind gusts and also the heaviest rain is at the moment. There's a little bit of pink in here, but I'm not seeing any real evidence of hail in that storm. But again, that's the only warning we got left in the whole region. All these others up in here are advisories. And again, we'll kind of go up in here. There's Lafayette. So again, this storm's knocking on your doorstep. Chickamauga, it's pretty much moving in as we speak. You see all the different communities, High Point, Blue Spring, Rock Spring, all these areas in Walker and into Catoosa County. You're getting in on this heavy rain and gusty wind activity, so get ready in Ringgold. This is about to hit you here in about 5 to 10 minutes. Fort O, it's pretty much right over you right now. So Fort O, this is right over you. Fairview and Full, you guys are right in the thick of things. Same with Lake Winnie. East Ridge is in the middle of it right now. Hamilton Place is too. Lee Highway area, 153. Downtown is on the back side of this, so downtown chat, you guys are on the back side of this, and also in the clear. So Red Bank, you're good. Walden Signal, you're good, and I'll even say Hickson's good. So Hickson, you guys are on the back side. You guys are in better shape from a storm standpoint, much better shape. Saudi Daisy, you're on the back side now. Same with Lakeside, so I'm gonna give you an all clear. So Sail Creek, you're good. Mowbray, Flat Top, y'all are good. This is all to your east, and there's one strike of lightning that's been indicated there just now, in the vicinity of Harrison. There, that's what's showing on here. So we got only one, and actually two right here. One near Chat State, and another right near Harrison. So those are the only two lightning strikes we really have out there with this. So other than maybe a rumble or two and all that, I mean that's pretty much it. Some bursts of wind, nothing crazy though. That's the good thing. And I'm not seeing any indication of lightning down in Walker or Catoosa at all. I mean, this is mainly just heavy thunder showers, I guess you can call it, moving all the way down, pretty much down the spine of Lookout into DeKalb County and Alabama and almost Cherokee County too. That's where that's at. And again, this warning for southeastern DeKalb there remains in effect until 10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock, that's when that will expire. And again, nothing happening back out here to the west, and all this is back in here. Do a quick overview. All this is back is just plain old rain. That's just it. Yeah, it's probably going to be a little breezy here behind this for sure, but it's not going to be like, we don't have any severe storms though back in here. So this is just rain. It's going to sweep through, and then we're going to dry out and get colder, believe it or not, for about 36 hours roughly, before we have that big warm-up going into Christmas week. So we're going to have a little cold snap here for Friday night, Saturday morning. Then Saturday afternoon, temperatures are going back up. And they're going to go back up even more going into next week. I mean, highs in the 60s for Christmas and maybe even near 70. So, yep. So we'll have one cold snap for the next 36 hours after this rain moves out. And then we're going to warm up in a hurry going into the weekend, this latter half of the weekend and into next week. So, yep, it'll be a warm Christmas this year, not a cold Christmas and not a white Christmas. So let me check and see. Looks like we have a new advisory that was just posted here. Yep. This is for Chattooga County, far southeastern Walker County, so that'd be the Villanelle area. Most of Gordon County, that's Calhoun, and the south side of Dalton in Whitfield County, and in the far southwestern tip of Murray County, which is southwest of Chatsworth. There, this goes in effect until 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's 10:30 Central time, and that's for 50-mile-an-hour winds. So really, on average, 40 to 50 with that, as that moves off to the east. And again, that's this one severe thunderstorm warning we're hanging on to for the next 10-15 minutes there for southeastern DeKalb County there in Alabama. So it's mainly east of I-59 and east of Fort Payne. So that would be for just the Little River Canyon area of the county. And check this out. I mean, the only indications of lightning that I'm seeing here are in southern Hamilton County, but as far as wind and stuff's concerned, nothing much has changed there. So this is just a line here now of just some heavy rain, gusty wind. And as I said, it's closing in on Cleveland. It's closing in on Athens now. So those of you in Cleveland and Athens, this is now beginning to enclose on your area here. And eventually it's going to hit Riceville and Calhoun and Charleston and eventually Etowah and down to Ocoee, as well as Benton and Delano. So this is going to move into your area too here eventually. And then down here, this activity is now just crossing into Chattooga County from DeKalb. And that's going to move into Somerville and Tryon here soon. And then it's going to cross over these mountains here and move into Calhoun and Resaca. So this is going to move towards Dalton as well. So if you're in Dalton, heads up there. Calhoun, heads up. Heavy rain, gusty winds about to move in again. Winds could be 40, 50 miles an hour. At least the gusts would be. And that will continue east from there and eventually into the Blue Ridge Mountains and out of the region. And then up here, it looks like there might be a little bit, maybe some pea-sized hail up here around the battlefield and towards Fordo and points east from there along Cloud Springs Road and Battlefield Parkway. But I'm not seeing anything that suggests anything severe, though, out of that. So some good news there. So Ringgold, you're about to get in on this heavy activity here very shortly. Cherokee Valley area, also same thing. East Brainerd's getting the worst of this right now, and so is Ooltewah. Ooltewah's just getting in on it. And also Collegedale, Appleton, McDonald, Cleveland. You all are next up to get this activity. And also down here towards Wildwood Lake in Bradley County, out towards Red Clay State Park. That's going to be another area that's going to be getting this activity here very soon. And then again, basically lined up all along I-75 here pretty much in McMinn County, crossing it right now into Athens and Nyota and Riceville here is this line segment. Charleston, this is on your doorstep. Calhoun, Tennessee, on the other side of the river is also moving in on you. So again, this is the zone right in here where we're seeing some gusty winds in here that could be on the order of 40 to 50 miles an hour out of that. And again, we'll query some of that here real quick. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. I know this over here is definitely well overdone. Again, that 87 right there is not legitimate. That's well overestimated there. But at the surface, it's 40 to 50. So I said, I mean, the winds up aloft in the atmosphere are screaming, like really high. But at the surface level, it subtracts as you get closer to the surface. So you could pretty much half that. And that's what I'm saying, 40 to 50. At the surface level. And I am just getting word here that this is from a Squatchy Valley Electric Cooperative. I'm just reading the post that just came out. Following, and I'm reading it in quote, following the strong storm system that moved through this evening, SVEC is experiencing scattered outages across the service territory. Our crews have been dispatched. We are working to restore power as safely and quickly as possible. And this is a reminder to stay away from all down lines. If you need to contact them about an outage or report a power outage, call SVEC's 24/7 outage line at 888-421-7832 or on your Smart Hub phone app. So for those of you living in the SVEC service area, so Squatchy Valley, Grundy County, there are reports of power outages, and I can actually check that here real quick off camera here on the SVC outage map. Just to see where we are on that. See if we got any new updates here. Oh, wow. It's showing over 4,000 customers within that area. So it's showing over, let me get you the county information here. This is showing over 1,600 out in Grundy and over 1,700 out in Marion County and over 600 out in Squatchy County and also 50 out in Hamilton from SVC. Now, EPB, that's probably higher, I'd imagine, but as far as SVC is concerned, there's been over 4,000 total outages combined for over 4,000 customers. So yeah, these storms are really packed a punch across the plateau and Squatchy Valley this evening from the wind. As I said, the wind has been the big issue tonight. I mean, that's been by far the biggest issue. Has just been the wind, as opposed to like as much as storms have been. I mean, the wind itself, even out ahead of the storms, it was already intense. So again, when you have a strong storm system like this, that's what tends to happen with this kind of stuff. So also some good news here for those of you in DeKalb County, Alabama that may be watching. For those of you there, your warning has been canceled. Your warning's been canceled 10 minutes early. So no more severe thunderstorm warning. And with that said, for the first time in a couple of hours, we actually have no formal warnings in effect anywhere in our area, at least as far as severe warnings concerned. The blue boxes you see here are what we call significant weather advisories. These all run in effect through the next 10 to 40 minutes or so, and I'm sure we'll get more extensions here as it moves towards the Blue Ridge Mountains. But either way you put it, at least we don't have any more severe warnings at this time. And I'll double check the winds to make sure we don't miss anything here, because we've had some surprise spin ups here, or at least close to them. And again, other than just some strong wind gusts here, a 40 to 50 along this leading edge, nothing really stands out to me. And that's the best news. I can tell you, so that's the good news. So at least nothing is really standing out to me along this leading edge. Also, let me read, so this will give me some time to also read some of your reports on here, now that I can get on here. Athens Power is also out. Meigs County lost power. Storm has arrived in Lafayette. Thank you for that report. No tornado warning or watches or Fort-O. Again, we don't have any severe warnings anymore, thankfully. So at the moment, we don't have any severe warnings in effect. These are just, the blue boxes are just advisories, strong storm advisories. Wind pretty bad in Chatsworth, too. Yeah, for those of you in Chatsworth, what you're experiencing are actually the gradient winds ahead of this line. So once this line moves in, you'll see winds probably in similar territory, possibly a little higher, but they should stay below severe levels. Wind is crazy in East Ridge. No tornado watch or warnings in Saudi, so you're good there. Lightning and thundering in Red Bank. Let's see. Highway 58's awful. Let's see. There was the, again, as I said, in Whitwell, you're good. Squatchy Valley, you're clear as far as severe storms is concerned. Day County, you're good. And also Fort-O, Chickamauga, Lookout Mountain, Flintstone, Rossville, you're clear. You're good. Power still out on Sand Mountain and Trenton. How much longer will be over Chattanooga? In fact, it's actually moving out right now. So you are safe to travel back to Jasper. Power still out on Sand Mountain near Davis School above Trenton. Lakeside, you're pretty much done with it now. Power out in Jasper and Kimball. Trees down in Rising Fawn. And let's see. No lights in Squatchy. Let's see. No power in South Pitt. And let's see. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. Power out in Whiteside. Yeah, I'm just reading all these different reports here now that I've had some time to, since we don't have any warnings in effect here too. Also, just in, a new advisory has been issued here. This is a new significant weather advisory. This is for northeastern Catoosa. This is also for pretty much all of Whitfield and the northern half of Murray County. This is going to go in effect here. This is for 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. This goes in effect for the next 35 minutes until 11:30. So for those of you in Whitfield County, Murray County, and far eastern Catoosa County, basically Ringgold East, you have a Strong thunderstorm advisory or special weather statement in effect for up to 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts until 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. So that's the newest advisory I just got in. So again, as I said, once this line passes through, if this line's already passed through your neighborhood, you're good. So again, it's hitting Cleveland right now. It's hitting Athens. It's hitting Ringgold. Lafayette's now just getting in on the backside. Somerville and Tryon are getting it right now. So those areas and points east are going to be the areas right in here. And there's a new advisory just issued there for Athens and up in towards the Maryville area. But these areas basically along and east of I-75. So if you draw a line here, what I can do here, I'll draw a line that shows I-75 here. Basically from there and east, pretty much, that's going to be the zone where the heaviest thunderstorm activity is going to be through at least the next hour. As I said, by midnight Central Time and really by midnight Eastern Time, most of this will be out of the whole region by that point. So it'll probably be over here by Murphy and Blairsville and Jasper, Georgia, and points east from there by that point. So this will be moving into the Carolinas and probably weakening at that point, continuing to weaken. So again, pretty much this next hour here for areas basically along the line from, we'll say, about Athens to Cleveland, Ringgold, Villanelle, Somerville, and east. So that would include Dalton, Calhoun, Chatsworth, Blue Ridge, Ducktown, Benton area, and also Delano. This is going to be the zone here where the strong storm activity will be. So that means for the rest of you that are watching that I did not mention, you are clear from strong storms. You're clear. These are the only spots I just mentioned here to the east are the only ones that are dealing with this activity, and you can kind of see here on the. And one thing I did this time around, and I'm hoping this worked out from y'all's end as well, I did, if you may have noticed here, I did increase the size of the cities on this map so that way you could see them a little better. So I'm hoping that may have helped a little bit this time, because last time I was running a different source and that, made the cities look a little tiny. And I'm hoping that this time it's a little more better. So and I used two different sources here. One for the storm tracks, that's the radar Omega, and this one is for everything else. This weather-wise thing, this is for everything else. So for the velocity, for the regular radar, I use this, the weather-wise, and for the tracking where I put the storm tracks on, I use radar Omega and use this path right here, and all I have to do is do this, and boom. So that's just a little bit of an inside there on how I track storms and how things are done on this page as far as tracking severe weather is concerned there. So thought I would briefly go over that. Again, Ringgold, you're pretty much on the back side of this now. And you got to remember, when these radar scans come through, one thing to note is these radar scans go round and round. When you get the new update, a lot of times the placements, I think it's just best to assume that the placement's already a few miles ahead of what it's showing. Because you got to remember, radar's not perfect, and storms, they move. I mean, they move, and considering the speed's about 40 to 50, they're usually already like a few miles ahead. I mean, it's better, at least as far as giving advance notice is concerned on timing, at least right now, as opposed to it moving at 60 to 70 miles an hour. But as far as like being exact with, where the placement is, that's what I'm saying. Like, for example, in Varnell, this red that's saying it's over Ringgold is probably moving into your area right now. And if it's not, it'll be there very soon. And same with Tunnel Hill and Dalton. But again, I just got another advisory. This is for, again, Bradley County, Benton, and so let me read that again. So that's for Bradley County, far southeastern Hamilton County, southeastern McMinn County, and all of Polk County. That's going to go in effect through the next 45 minutes until 11:45. So if you follow the eastern edge of these polygons here for the significant weather advisories, you will see that this is pretty much where the NWS and even myself, in a way, expect where these storms to be within the next 30 to 45 minutes. So By the end of these advisories, these should be over here more towards Blue Ridge and Murphy by that point. So in other words, these would be moving out of the area by that time. So as I said, by 10:30, 10:45, just before midnight Eastern time, we should be able to just be able to get out of this here for our eastern communities as far as the storms exiting are concerned. So again, Cleveland, you guys are getting battered here pretty good right now. Heavy rain, gusty wind. Same with Appleton. Collegedale and Ottawa, you guys are now on the backside. Again, Chattanooga metro area. Most of the metro is all clear. So we'll go ahead and give an all clear to the Chattanooga metro. And points west, you guys are all good. Walker County, Lafayette North, you're clear. Day County, you're clear. Meigs County, you're good. Ray County, Squatchy Valley, you're all good. Plateau, same thing. Athens, almost there. Almost there. About 5 more minutes and you'll be good in Athens. Officially. Same with Riceville. And then Englewood and Etowah, this is almost on top of you. So heads up there in Englewood and Etowah. This line of we'll just say, heavy shower and gusty wind activity is about to move in. And again, down towards Benton and Delano, this is almost on top of you. This stuff over Cleveland here. So, Coe, you're about to get in on this. And again, this is some heavy rain and thunderstorms as it moves off to the east. And what I'll do, I haven't had a chance to do this in a while. So, what I'll do is I'll put a track on this. Let's get a movement here. This is moving east at 50, so no dramatic change here. So, I'll just change that to 50 so I can track this out for those of you in Polk. And then, oops, excuse me there. There we go. So let me put that track out there now that I've updated that. And we'll put this out, and I'll put Benton in here too, as well as Ducktown. And again, there's your times of arrival there. So Ocoee, this will be near you at around 11:13, around 11:19 in Benton. Ducktown around 11:36. Farner there around 11:40, so that'd be around the Turtletown area roughly. And in Murphy, North Carolina, around midnight. So then that will be moving into Cherokee County and eventually down the road. And let's track this out here towards Dalton, because I know I have some viewers out here too. So let's track this out from your Dalton and show you where that's going. Let me make sure I have the right movement on that. And this one's moving east at 45, so we'll just keep it at 50 there. Because remember, storms fluctuate in speed, and that could change things. That's why I always say subtract 5-10 minutes from the actual time of arrival here. So here's some of the latest towns here in the way, towns and cities. So Tunnel Hill pretty much right now, same with Rocky Face. Around 11:08 in Dalton, downtown that is. West side would be sooner than that. Chatsworth area around 11:20. So between 11 o'clock and 11:30 for you. Same with Eton. The Cohutta Wildlife Management area just before 11:30 Eastern. And then Blue Ridge out in Fannin County. They're around 11:51 p.m. Eastern. So just before midnight out there in the central part of the Blue Ridge Mountains in the Blue Ridge community. So those are some quick tracks here. And that will, and I know I have some people. I know Monroe is technically not in the area, but let me make sure I get this also out here towards Tellico and some others here. So, again, Etowah, this will be in your area here within the next 5 minutes. So, you got about 5 minutes before this gets to you. In fact, it may actually already be on top of you. But within the next 5 minutes, you'll get an increase in the rain and gusty winds there. And then Tellico Plains, you'll have that in your area around 11:23 or just before that. So, those are some tracks on that side. And then I'll do one more for the southern tier. That includes the Calhoun area. That's also moving northeast at 50. And we'll track that out. In fact, I'll actually zoom in a little more so we may get a couple more communities on there. And we'll get Resaca and a few others on there. There's Ranger as well. And then that's going to move towards Ellijay as well. So let me get you some times arrival here for Gordon County. Calhoun there around 11:23, Resaca around 11:25, around 11:40 in Ranger, and then Ellijay in Gilmer County where they hold that Apple Festival every fall. That'll be there, again, around or just before midnight there. Let me take a sip of water. So heads up down there across areas of northwest Georgia there. So there's some tracks. So I pretty much just tracked the majority of this line right here that runs from east of Summerville up through about Dalton. So pretty much approaching Dalton as we speak. Varnell, Cleveland, Wildwood Lake, southeast side of Athens, Englewood, Madisonville area. That's and then points east. Excuse me, I'm taking some water there. Taking a sip of water, but again, this is the zone here that's showing the potential for strong winds. Again, right now we don't have any severe warnings in effect, but this is the main zone at the moment that has the strong storm activity. So again, Cleveland, Dalton, points east from there. And Athens, you're clear now. This is weakening considerably. So if you're in Athens and Riceville and Calhoun down through Charleston, you're good. So you guys are all clear there. Cleveland, you're getting on the backside of this. So while you're still experiencing the heavy rain and everything else, the worst is pretty much done for you, at least on the severe weather side of things. So you're pretty much good in Cleveland. And in Dalton, you'll be good here in about 10 to 15 minutes. And in Chatsworth, this will be moving into your area here also within the next 10 to 20 minutes or so. So get ready there as this line moves to the east here at 50 miles per hour. So with that said here, let me see if I can find any other reports here, see if we got anything else we got to pass along. Let's see. Yeah, so again, as I said, Cleveland is pretty much over you right now, so that's why it didn't show the track for you, because it's on top of you. That's the thing. When it comes to these storm tracks here, it has it to the way it's set up here. You track the leading edge of it, just so you give some advance notice out ahead. So when it's on top of a certain location, that just means that if your city's not in there, it's either that it's past you or it's on top of you at that point. So that's why it didn't include Cleveland on that track. So, but it did include like Benton and Etowah and others as well. So I made sure that was included. Power just came back on in Rutledge, so that's Grundy County. Walmart's power's been out. Yeah, Athens near Walmart. That's where that is. So power's out there. Again, this is mainly for the wind. And again, I answered this question here from Sarah. Is this a tornado warning? No. This is not a tornado warning. It's what's called, and thanks to Emily for mentioning this, it's a special weather statement, strong winds 50 miles an hour. So that's what that is. So no tornado warnings. Dunlap is in the clear, yes. No tornado in Sweetwater. No. That's just the wind. That's just the gusty wind. Power flickered and wind got rough in Menlo for a few minutes. Calmed down pretty quick. You're welcome there, Emily. Thank you for going live. Makes you feel better, Ringgold. Happy to help. Power out in Dade. Athens power out. So those are some of the newest things I could find. Okay, cool deal. So the good thing here is that in Cleveland, things are settling down there. The worst of this is now east of town. So as the latest radar scan, all this red and everything else, this is all moving east. So this is about to move into Polk County here very soon. So that's the good thing. So in fact, in Cleveland, I'll go ahead and give you, and yeah, last scan just confirmed it. So Cleveland, you're good. You're good to go to sleep. You are good to go to bed. Athens, you're good. Dalton, 10 more minutes, you'll be good. And you'll be good in about 10 minutes there in Dalton. Chatsworth, about 20. And then the rest of Polk County in about 30 minutes. So with that said here, since we don't have any severe warnings or anything of concern, I haven't seen anything new that's come across the wire or anything like that. So with that said here, I'm going to sign off for the night since we don't have any warnings, any severe danger anywhere. We just have some strong storms that are moving out of Cleveland, out of Athens, out of Catoosa County, and moving through Dalton, about to move into Calhoun and Chatsworth and Polk County soon. So heads up in those areas for the next 20 to 30 minutes or so. Heavy rain, gusty winds, a little lightning. It'll be rough. It will sound rough, but we do not have anything tornadic, and we do not have anything severe as of this minute. If we do get a warning, I'll put a post out about that, and if that comes up to truth. So if you don't hear anything regarding warnings or anything, and it sounds a little crazy, take that as a good thing, because that means that the storms are still below severe levels. It's just that the winds are gusty tonight because of the high shear that we've had. So everybody else is pretty much all clear from the severe weather danger. And with that said, I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll try to get one or two more updates out here within the next hour. So stay tuned for that on my page, and have a good and safe night, everyone.